try to convince me it was all in my
But it's all
head,
in my
and I
hand.
felt like it's that you was
Yeah.
me instead. I wanted to rock with
Yeah,
you,
Ready.
roll with you. Said you was my
Ready,
baby
man.
girl, then you left me too. Everything was kosher, perfect like a poster. Then I got
Only the
word
music I
that you
play
wanna
right
leave a
now.
picture. Off with somebody else, off with
Yeah.
the jerk.
with the jerk.
That's when
Yes,
we'll
and
go.
we're
We're live.
live. Yes, man, we're live and lively people right here on another edition of the Topics. Yes, and we're here on another edition of the Topics and another beautiful Tuesday evening. I don't know what you guys are doing at this time, but it's a pleasure having you locked in here with us on Real Entertainment Network. Want to say a special good evening to the Real Entertainment Network team. Man, I'm telling you, I just got to tip my hats to this team, the commitment, the lots of things that goes on behind the scenes that many of you don't know about. But we give thanks that we're able to come here and provide you with some real entertainment and some real information as well. And so here is another edition of the topics. I want to say good evening to Oli and Layamiga. And as we make use of those words, we remember that those are the words that were left with us by our ancestors, the indigenous people of the lands. Those were the names that they gave to the islands. They gave the island of what they call St. Kitts now Layamiga, and what we call Nevis now Oli. And those are the only two words, so to speak, that I know of that we still have as a remnant of our indigenous past. And so, that is something that we opt to utilize here on this platform and utilize as much as possible as an effort to remember our people and the struggle and what they would have been through, and to realize that even if it is only that is left, that we have to make sure that we pass that on to our future generations so that they can learn as well. We want to say good evening also to all the other folks throughout the entire Eastern Caribbean, wherever you are, throughout the world, America, Canada, China, Taiwan, Japan, Russia, Ukraine, we got people all over the world and people logging all over the world. It's social media. It's a worldwide web. And so we do have people all over, and we do appreciate you making time out to log into this platform and to be a part of the topics. Um, we also want to say a special good evening to our folks who usually participate with us via the various platforms that we provide this show on. We also use Twitch TV. We also use YouTube. And so those who make use of those platforms, we also want to say a special good evening to you. Most times we do respond to the comments that are posted on the Facebook wall. And so, and if you post on other platforms, they usually show up on the screen that is in the middle. And so we do sometimes take the time out to respond to those comments, because without you, like the introductory song says, we would be having conversations with ourselves. And so since we don't want to have conversations with ourselves, we come and bring the conversations with you, and we bring the topics to you and seek to engage you in the topic as well. And the format, we will have various topics that we would put on the table that we would discuss or just bring to the fore, and you also are allowed to present your topic, whether via the Facebook wall, the YouTube wall, the Twitch wall, or if you wish to call in and to be a part of the program. Banky, you got your phone sorted out yet or no?
Yeah, man. Definitely. Yeah. We're good.
Okay, so then we will be able to put out the numbers 1-869-662-7196 and or 1-559-541-2758. Those are the numbers if you wish to participate. We will eventually put them in on the screen so that you can get to those numbers. I think I'll do that when Banky is making his introductory statements. And so I will now turn over the mic to Banky so that he could make his introductory statements. So Banky, greetings, welcome.
Yes, good evening, son, and good evening to the folks listening to the sound of my voice. The people in Oli and Layamiga, that's the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Hopefully, one day we get this name changed and have the indigenous name on our travel documents and all the documents that we call government documents and stuff like that. So, good evening to the folks in the neighboring islands, Sabre, Statia, St. Martin, Montserrat, the folks in VI, the US Virgin Islands, Antigua and Barbuda, and the folks over in Bermuda. Also the folks over in Grenada, Barbados, St. Vincent and Grenadines, St. Lucia, wherever you are throughout the Leeward and Windward Islands. We greatly appreciate you guys tuning in. Also the folks up in Barbados, Bahamas, and going up to the Florida Keys, Miami, and all the way up to Maine, Boston, New York, Jersey, Atlanta, Chicago. All the folks in the US and even those over in Hawaii who listen to us. Also, for the folks over in Europe, it's a different time zone, yes, son. So we really got to appreciate those folks who stayed up religiously, whether it's Tuesday or Friday, and when they could do any other thing. So when people take their time out to listen to these talk shows, you really can't take the listeners for granted, because we told them these shows really don't exist, and they share the shows and they reach out to us and let us know they listen when they see you on the street or in the supermarket. They let you know when we do listen to the show, appreciate the good works you're doing. So we would have never fathomed that. I mean, as a youth growing up, that we'll be doing these kind of things, and people really look out and listen to us and cancel any other stuff that they have doing and stuff like that. So also appreciate the folks over in Africa. We also have students over in Indonesia and in Turkey and Taiwan and all the different places. So wherever you're to the sound of our voice, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whichever is appropriate. Thanks for tuning in and continue giving the support. And without your support and your comments and being a part of the show, it would not be a show. And Yasin and myself would not been here. I remember we're just doing this because we want to have a better island, a better federation. And that's the reason we need to hold our leaders accountable. It's very important that, and in these times, you realize nothing must have changed. A lot of different stuff going on between the larger countries, the superpowers, against the smaller islands. But I don't think we are very small. When it comes to finance, we have it large, and it's the mismanagement of our countries and stuff like that we're going to get involved in. Because you see, I grew up in an environment where my family hold us accountable. So we don't lie. You understand? If somebody does something and you ask to do it, you're not supposed to. You're supposed to tell the truth. If you do something wrong outside, you come home, let us know if you was fighting. If we hate on the street, we're going to beat you again. You understand? So don't be afraid to say, we are told that will trouble anyone. So if anybody trouble you, fight. Don't back down. You see, if you complain, make a complaint to the teacher before, because fighting is the last option. But if they keep troubling you, you hit force. You understand? And that's it. So we got to hold our leaders and who we put there accountable. And in these times, we're going to have to really go back to the drawing board and stop looking for certain qualities in our leaders that we think is good qualities, and there's really bad qualities that we tend to look up and look down on everybody else and stuff like that. So we got to balance out there when it comes to looking, just depending on how you look, your outside appearance, and how you dress and all these things. These are cunning things, yes, son. I see these as cunning things. Growing up in the church, I grew up and analyzed a lot of stuff going on in the church and other places. Because the best way to learn is observing, and I'm very good at observing. You see what I mean? How people speak, their tone, how they speak to other people and all this different stuff. So, and I'm the kind of person who would lay you straight, but yes, I'm not sure if you screw me over, that's it, you know. Because I watch how we speak to other people. If you share the stunt with me pull up one time. So other people, other people speak down to them. Grown men, I see grown men, other grown men speak down to them because whatever reason, but they speak down to me virgin. And I instill these things in my youth, just walk off and people walk. For the moment they change the tone, I put myself, I don't appreciate that. Address it one time. Because not name fear in a virgin, and people will test you, especially human, and that's the problem of the world. The problem of all institutions is human error. And that's where my evening coming. So the human error is a problem. When you hear people say, "Oh, you got to struggle," me not got to no struggle. Human error fight me down evilness. You see, you address it how it is and stop. Oh, struggle. Yes, I'm doing so good in school, very good, but he can't move up because of this and he got to beard. Well, then I no struggle. That's human error messing with your son who performing at his best quality when nobody can fill his shoes. And then you call it then a struggle, man. We need to deal with this struggle thing when your own people fighting you down, who are put there, you understand? And all these things. But when your son move, everything fall apart. Because everybody can do the work. You see? That's what it is. We live in an environment where we got people don't want to move from the position they're in. They're too comfortable in a position for 20, 30, 40 years. They don't want to go home and enjoy the life and the home and stuff like that. They're so attached to they're married to the job. That's the problem. That's it. That's all I know. They can't exist without these things.
But part of it, Banky, wouldn't it be because the education system that we have is geared towards that sort of structure? Because, like I was pointing out, I
Yes, that
think
is
on one
true.
of the
True.
you have a system set up
Yes.
that is just designed to replace people who are in these positions. So it's like, you churn out people to replace, who's going to retire, who's going to go home, and somebody fit is like a cog. And you just fit like a
Let me
cog
say
into the
this.
wheel because, yes.
My environment where I grew up in between my mom and my grandmother and my uncles and aunties and them is that the instant thing in you one time, you are just, if you have to go to work for somebody, it's just temporarily to get you start. Can remember if you grow up in no wealth, So your idea, your thing is always to be temporarily and set your own self, invest and start your own business and whatever and work for yourself. The dream is always to work for yourself where you have your own time. These are things that was instilled in us. And if you see my siblings, all of them, how they flex and everything, they realize we all think that way because it's what was embedded in you and it's embedded in my children too. Whatever it is, if you
Well,
want to
you
be a
see,
doctor, make sure you get one doctor office. Where his environment it instill these things in us, and that is why everybody who around me and how we grew up in that yard up in Kodak Road. Yes, the general public knows that. You see what I mean? My
well,
they knows
you
how my
can't keep,
family is. That's it. Yes.
that's the thing. We probably were blessed to have that opportunity and that, even though maybe at the
Yes.
time we didn't see it that way, because maybe at the
Of
time to some
course.
extent we might have seen it as punishment and all, you know what I mean? I want to play with my
Yes.
friends, them and so on, and
Of
I got to
course,
go sell
definitely.
sugar cake, I got to go do
Yes.
this, I got to go do
Yes.
that,
Exactly.
and so to some
Yes.
extent at the
Of
time
course.
you were thinking it's
Yes.
punishment, but not, it's only when you get older now you realize what is it that what they were doing truly
Well,
mean, not just to you, the community and the
yes.
society as well. Because, like, okay, in my case, I grew up seeing my mom and my dad like that as well. Since I know myself,
Yes.
I mean, only in the latter part of my father's life that my father ended up having to work for somebody because, well, he had gotten ill and so on. But since I know my father was a truck man and he drove his truck and go
Yes.
and do his hustle,
Of
and
course.
that's how he make his money. And then my mother was selling in the shop
True.
and that's how she makes she hustle. And I never knew them
Yes.
working for anybody. I mean, at the time, like I say, it might have been hard because sometimes now when I could have been going and playing with my friends and so on, I had to maybe go help, do something for the business, you know what I mean? At the time, as I say, I might have seen it as punishment
Mhm.
because by
Of
I want
course.
to play with my friends and so on. But now I realize what they were seeking to do, what they were seeking to establish, and now what it means even to me today to seek to try to maintain or continue
Yes.
what they would have started, because look at where we are today, where we're seeing a lot of these little businesses are just, closing out. And sometimes some other group of people are taking over these, what we call mom and pop shops and stores and so on. So it's really also critical for us to see that this is what they were seeking to demonstrate to us, that we have the capability and the ability to fend for ourselves and to help to provide services that is beneficial to the community, and at the same time make a little profit and make a little living at the same time. But basically that was what it was about, providing services
Yes.
for the community So that way, okay, I don't have to drive all the way into town to get this because by the shop down the road have this. You know, so
Definitely.
very very critical, Banky. So the environment, as you say, play a critical role, and the
Of
reality
course.
is a lot of us did not get that opportunity to have um, that experience growing up. The environment would have been different. Maybe seeing mommy
Okay.
and daddy
Let, let, me-
hustling to
let, me,
go to
let me
work
give a
and so
different
on.
let me give a different perspective, because growing up with, I had a lot of different friends, so a lot of different
Hmm.
household. So we're bridging them. The fathers is preachers. So you understand. So I'm going to different household. They were one my next virgin father was my teacher. So Bugsy father, Mr. Swanson, is our teacher. So then we have to go see Mr. Swanson when he come by Bugsy house. So you understand. So it was like mystical. Yeah, if that's when I primary school. If I go by Aaron Manson, then you have to go by Miss Walters, which is the head teacher. Then I have to go by Miss Walters, we call teacher Mona. So it's like you're getting this two part. So I have to always in a certain kind of meditation all times. Man, you understand, and this kind of vibes. And
Hmm.
then one day, I have my virgin David, the caster, you know what I mean? His dad is a preacher, and then my virgin James, you
Right,
know what I mean?
right,
His dad also is a preacher, and then his dad was an insurance man. So like
yeah, yeah.
James would always try to sell me insurance in high school, and I say, what are you talking about? So these guys thinking so way ahead. So James, can he understand what his father doing? But I in that household, you understand? You see Mr. Herbert get
Right,
up every day
right.
and going to, you know what I mean, and going to work. But then me go telling me, buy your bikes to get some insurance. And then 20 years, 25 later, you go take out some. Say, what is this? So me watch at my age now. Okay, then we in high school now. But Jimmy can't sit down there one day. You understand? I mean, so what? But then you understand as you
That's the
grow
environment that he
what he
grew up
show.
in.
Of
Right,
course.
that is what he grew up in. Exactly. So
Yes.
he's able to
Yes, because
demonstrate that.
these things are passed down to him, and explain the importance of these things. You might think 20 years as a teenager when you're 15 in high school is a by that me live to see me 21, about 20 something years. Wow.
That's why that's
But he
why
had
a
it
lot
down
of
pat.
people when I did that stint at Solid Waste, when I used to drive the truck for Solid Waste,
Yes.
the what they call the garbage truck, the solid waste
Of
truck.
course, yes, yes,
Um
yes.
I a lot of people like, but me don't know you could drive truck. But like my
Of
father was a
course.
truck man. Like I born in
Yes.
it. Like driving from my small my father lap before me could put my foot on the pedal. I don't know how to steer. All I had to do was learn to wait until my foot was long enough to reach to the pedal. And
Yes.
I used to go with him during the summer and so on while he doing his work, and all I doing is watching what he does to shift
Of
the
course.
gears them. So by the time I'm ready to do these things, I don't know all of this in my head. It was just now to just do it. It was just a piece
Yes,
of cake.
yes.
And so yes, man, definitely the comments coming in so far. Let's address some of the comments. We have Larrett Wharton saying good night, guys, from Birmingham, UK. Carlisle
Good
Paris in the
evening.
house. Yvonne Jeffers saying good morning all. Um, Yvonne Jeffers saying I across the border in Leicester. I think that's how it's pronounced. Leicester. Um, and then she and Lauret seem to be having a little conversation there. She says, "I'm part of the Viking crew." Um, she said, "Yes, my cousins." Okay, all right. So I guess they have their own little conversation going on there in the chat. So we give thanks for that. Banky, we we're gonna roll into some of the topics, the other
Yes.
topics, because it was quite interesting going into that little story about our life and so on, and our past and so on. Some of these things are very, very good.
Of
Banky, I was talking to before getting to this topic, I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were telling me, man, and they made me think about it as well too. Um, they were like, "Boy, I was talking to this partner the other day, right? And the man calling me elder. The man saying,
hmm
the man calling me
Yes.
elder. And he like, so in my mind, I'm saying to myself, by, that's the way they use them see us now too, as
Of
well. And we
course. Yeah,
could remember
true.
growing up, we were looking at the elders, but now they are seeing
Within your
us. But like I
ancestors,
said,
man.
where I
Yeah,
wasn't
within the
really looking at it.
ancestors.
Yeah, I wasn't
Of
really looking
course.
at it from that level, you know. So definitely, too, we really have a responsibility in these times to really, um, pass on some of these things that the elders were seeking to pass on to us. Some of it that we, at a younger age, might not have really seen. Like you're saying, as you use the example of James trying to tell you about the insurance at that age, and that was something
Yes.
way and far out of your mind at that time.
Of course.
But as you got
Yes.
older, you recognize, okay, but now I understand what he was really trying to do and so on. And sometimes that's how, because of the knowledge gap, that's how it is between parents and children and so on. Like you because you would have already experienced certain things and know certain things, you're trying to seek to prevent them from going through this or have to go through this. But they're at a whole different level and they're not seeing what you are seeing. And it takes a little bit of time
Yes.
for them to sit. And sometimes prayerfully, um, when they do see it, let's hope that it isn't because of a negative experience that caused them to have to see it, but that they really learn eventually. Um, Banky, the trip to Nigeria by our federal government, well, let's not say federal government, let's say the government, because we also had the premier of Nevis who was a part of the trip. I guess it could start from home. Um, that trip, based on the reports, it is being said that the idea is to seek to bridge the gaps between Africa and the Caribbean, which is something that I am very much in favor of. And so I
Hmm.
personally don't have any reason per se to, you know, seek to question or chastise or look at it in any negative way, um, only to maybe say that I wish that a lot more efforts were done in the past to seek to address this issue and seek to bring um, or make the ties a little bit more closer. And it is not a case where there were not opportunities to. There were many opportunities because if we look at our history, we well not even history. We could look at the stats and the present stats, um, and we would see that we do have visa-free access to many African territories. And the fact that you have visa-free access, it means that the leaders would have had to make some sort of diplomatic relations with those territories. And so if you made diplomatic relations, um, there must have been possibilities for you to negotiate and so on, right? Now, so in that case, that's why I'm saying that a lot of this could have been done more um, in the past to really seek to bridge that. However, seemingly the most of the leadership in the Caribbean and some of the issues that I guess we're going to get into later on, I guess would speak to maybe why many share this view and function in this way. But many depended on um, business from Europe and America, and now because of seemingly a lot of pressure coming from those areas, a lot of the Caribbean region now are forced, and so that is why I say also I wish that they did this earlier so that it does not necessarily appear as though they are necessarily forced into having to do this because it is now seen as okay another alternative market to tap into because now we are being threatened by these markets on this side. And so that's the only twist that I would want to say to that. But I do commend the move to seek to build ties with any African territory So I am not going to be one who seek to critique it. Whatever other issues persons may want to put in between, um, whether it was something officially organized by the government. There's some people who want to find out if it was the taxpayers' monies. Some people were querying if it was an official um, thing or it was just like a private group organized this thing and invited the prime minister and so on. The all of the issues surrounding, I am not certain. However, these are things that where accountability comes in. And so if needs be, maybe some persons need to put these questions to the relevant authorities, and or the relevant authorities should be, coming forward and present such information so that people don't have to be questioning and wonder about these things. I did see uh, an article and a video which showed that the prime minister, so even though one may want to argue that it was a private event and so on, it also showed that the prime minister went and visited the president of Nigeria and was able to have at least a formal, informal, I'm not sure which one, but I know for sure I saw an informal setting, and it seemed as if they went into his official chambers and so on. I don't know if they actually had a formal meeting and so on, but we would have seen that the prime minister would have spoken to, expressing the view that we are seeking to reach out to our brothers and sisters as he related to them, and us as to develop and strengthen ties and other relations with Africa and Nigeria as they were in Nigeria at the time. So for me, that's my position. I commend such activities. Um, yeah, I'll hear your position. There's a little thing that, but I'll hear you first, and then if so, I might revert back to that.
Well, when a delegation like this, when the prime minister travel or anyone from the civil service, especially at the higher end, whether it's a PS, even myself when I use in any travel and whatever, and you come back, I mean, but at like them as the leaders at the top, they should let the general public know where they will go in these places. If it's by it is the trip is funded by the people of Nigeria, the government itself funded the trip, or if a different agency. These are yes, son. Me not babysit people in a virgin. You understand? Me not in the babysitting thing, virgin. I don't babysit me out and then make a 5 year a 4 year old going 5 year old and she's like a 21 year old. That's how brilliant to be. So if you think me babysit these scholars, me not know that, you know, I mean I make excuse for them, I don't even make excuse for myself. You see me? So they're no better. They're not all the protocols. These are just willful acts. You see? And we don't hold people accountable. We just suck up because your son bloody yellow and your son gone dead a palm and me a labor, so me gone dead a labor, cause me bloody red and your son bloody yellow. The mentality need to go to the drain. You understand? May you not accept them things there because may you can't look at how the world is and say, well, how think it's a navy got so much all the billions, all them millions and millions in development bank and national bank and credit union and bank and navy still going by the next bank, but yet they don't want to look at the money give certain people loan unless you're in a certain cycle and a circle and an alliance and all this nonsense. Virgin, the amount of money we got to own you, so nobody's supposed to pay no bills. You understand? The president already been set, because we know better. The Mechanos, I want to change our mentality, and with this hierarchy thing coming in it. If me going to do it, I say good morning to you, and me come back and me say good morning to you, get me an answer, me ask nothing else to you. So you know, even bother up with me and tell me good morning, come in even ask you who you talk to. We live in a kind of society where certain people you have to tell them good morning before they say good morning to you. Meaning in them kind of vibes there, because we all are equal. So who like to be near all these long name and letters behind name? Me no business about them things are virgin. Because if you're not being noble to your neighbor who house a bun down, and you understand how not eat, and your house full up of ass food, a spoil and all them vibes there. And your sister long like your whole porch, and your neighbor not got water, and you got water, and you just turn out your pump, and you not give neighbor some water else from head down the road. Me not dig them things there, son. So my point is, our leaders know better. You see your son, so when you see them go up on this thing and then I reach out to other tell us where they're going and all this thing and then take pictures and go out and easy man's schism. Me don't be impressed by these things because we 40 years behind. You see, as a developing state, we 30 years behind, 40 years behind. We should be way ahead in a lot of things.
As I'm listening
this
to
thing
you,
right? Yeah.
As I'm listening to you, right, I am here thinking that I have to get that opportunity to get that exclusive interview with you because you are the one, this one here, because you are the one who is poised to make the changes that you are highlighting here in terms of addressing some of the problems that is there. You are now presenting yourself as the candidate for Charlestown. So that interview now where you would have to start to present your positions and plans and proposals in terms of addressing some of these things that you're seeing as problems. We
have man-made problems. We have man-made errors, yes, son. That's what we have. If we are serious, if we are serious about everything else, when it comes to all the different areas, when it comes to developing our country, when it comes to roads, all the infrastructure, just like we speak about tourism, you see what I mean? And it's where all the money them go, and then everything will run smoothly. But you see, tourism is all about real estate. It's about selling passport and houses and land and all this different stuff. So a group of people making millions and millions of dollars is one thing me learn around my family all the time, is money, and don't get weak to money, and don't run down money kind of vibes there. Because what for you? You see what we live in an environment where Virgin is millions and millions of dollars are spending in St. Kitts and Nevis, daily, You know how much offshore company in the Navy, we just in the Navy is alone about 30,000. So what are they? I mean, people got basement all in the car, all in the house, all just an address, and that's just Nevis alone. You see how much money pass to Nevis and St. Kitts at daytime? Is a whole heap of people and make money off of these different things. All kind of people who you don't even fathom, and then kind of vibes in the house. We live in a place where we're supposed to have free education, yeah, son. Free healthcare set up, should be set up. We have so many people about how break there be, how much lawyers we have, how much doctors. We have to start a count per capita. How much lawyers we have, how much doctors, engineers. Believe me, we have come out way ahead of a lot of people. Most of them might not be specialized, but yet at least they're general practitioners. You see what I mean? But these are the realities. So if we are so brilliant, this says I'm not doing with our brain, and you understand, and our intelligence. It's just opportunities. Many get up and then burn up the ladder. And just, you understand, once you're far up along the place, when you hear places, you see just what happening in Burkina Faso, and that's why we're glad they live in an era where these are things, Gaddafi and them places in Libya, them things, that's what they're doing. You build homes for your people. You have the best healthcare, you train your people. We are engineers, but then we can't even drill a well. But we used to drill it one well before with this man Penny and all these different places from what I understand, listen to all this history going on, so we can't have all this machine invest in all this, with the kind of money we have and the wastage. If you look at the wastage, where you say, okay, then we're going to spend X amount of money, but when you look at the money, them not add up. Well, where the wastage go? So if you go waste so much of money, well, I feel that we can give your son and every native $1 million every 5 years then. Because if we waste millions and millions of dollars a year time, and yet the school them, dilapidated. The roads and them you swing here, left and right in all kind of places. The main might be about other places ain't the same. You have people who still got outside bathroom, outside kitchen, outside this. My philosophy is nobody's supposed to live so when we wasting money, left, right, and center by the millions. We waste too much, virgin. You can't tell me you're gonna spend. Okay, let's say example. a brand new hospital might cost, say, okay, the Social Security building that built up that down in Spinners, most people know that building. From my understanding, stand to be corrected, it was cost $20 million to build. You know the building, right? Social Security building. You know the one down Spinners, above TDC down there.
Yes. Yes.
You know it. 3 floors.
Yes.
All right. 20 million is Shiverton building. I stand to be corrected, but from what I say, most of the time, I think I know me I say. You understand? 20. You see, this is a building there. All right. So how the hell you gonna add on a building bigger than that, and still supposed to cost the same price? Well, who work out the cost there? Me not understand that. But who work out the estimate there? Eh? Because the piece where you add on over this is bigger than that. So who work out the budget there? Who is the estimate? Who is the estimating these things? And if you can't draw and never did in a hospital, well, if you're going to give me a job, me not electrician, well, I'll go and seek my uncle and some others electrician who I know singer, but I know all these different people and plumbers. And say, well, what do you think about this? Yeah? And you pass you to St. Kitts and St. Martin and ask questions. You research. And say, but I don't think I'm the best. I might have to partner with somebody, a group of engineers and different people. That's how you do things, Virgin. Because at the end of the day, in so forth, this can be fixed again, you know? In a patching up can come back with this. Let me tell you something. I gotta give Porkins the respect when he apologize for the honest mistake for the $10 million bridge. With a bridge supposed to cost $1 million, cost $10 million. I don't know what the work out, but he apologized, and me have to give the man. He feel bad. It's an honest mistake. All right. Well, more and here come back and say the same thing too. Yeah, more and upon all these things, and the same thing with the government and the premier with all these things, and with giving away geothermal to I hear the Prime Minister, geothermal is a federal project, a federal asset. Okay, so Navy's moved to St. Kitts now. You see? Me not have no interest in geothermal right now, your son, because we're talking geothermal the last 20 years, and I want all the money NRP spend add up, and all the money system that spend add up, and too much money we don't waste on geothermal. So unless somebody can tell me the cost of to extract geothermal and set up all the machinery and hook it up into the grid to all the homes in St. Kitts Nevis, it's gonna cost $400-500 million, and the project will finish by 2030. If you can't tell me that, me no want to hear nothing from nobody. Me have no interest in that. Me no want to say I can't come in soon. When you see the sense coming soon, I'm going to go on Jesus. You understand? Me no want to tell me coming soon. Me no want to hear anything there, son. No, me like it with practical things and the kind of vibes there. So until you can tell me when geothermal can be put, all these things, me no want to hear it. And that's just my take on that. Thanks, Nai.
Okay. So that's topic number one. Okay. Now we move a little bit from St. Kitts and Nevis, and then we're gonna move to the region. The top official for America, Mr. Rubio's Caribbean visit. Did you get to hear any feedback from what his claims were and his arguments that he presented, and the feedback from the various ministers?
Well, what
let
seem
me
to
hear
understand.
that, and then I will. Go ahead.
Well, what they seem to understand is that when Cuban doctors are sent throughout the Caribbean and whether it's South America and different places, is that sometimes the Cuban government receive the money direct. I mean, these are things that is alleged in some cases, but within our country and other places, Jamaica and Barbados and stuff like that. I mean, in some cases, if they are specialists, they will paid. They're paid fairly and equally from listening to the premier and our prime minister. They are treated fairly, and you understand. And in the premier's last press conference, he spoke about that also. So I think it's along that line where he's from Cuba. He understands how the Cuba system is set up because if you're sending money to Cuba and you send money, especially you have to send it through the US, and when it goes to Cuba, then a deduction is taken out for the government and all this different stuff. Cuba have a different system, how, but I'm not sure how it works and stuff like that. I mean, in Indonesia, I was with some Cubans on a trip the same way, and I realized because you see, when they travel, the country is different. So you're representing the country, so you have to be diplomatic, and be professionals. And
Yeah,
remember,
but
it's
okay,
almost
but
like
back
you're
in,
being watched. Yes,
I hear that, right? Um,
yes,
and as much as I hear that, I also want to think that with the superior um,
hmm
intelligence level of America,
yes,
um, America should have and ought to have known better in terms of differentiating some of those territories who they claim may be making
of
that kind
course.
of practice. Because
Yeah, but
the thing
there are
is,
reasons for these things.
maybe there are territories who make that arrangement with Cuba and so on. But they should
Yes,
have known that in the Caribbean, that is not necessarily the arrangement, and or make it their business to seek to investigate before seeking to go out and make that publicity stunt and create that scare tactic. And so it makes you wonder if it was not all orchestrated and
orchestrated.
it
Of
is a
course,
part
of
of
course, of course.
a more
Yes.
total different plan than what we may
Okay.
envisage.
Yeah, son. We sit down here and act like we don't know what going on. For the last 2 years, the federal, what you call it, the ECCB playing and the radio station, D-cash, digital cash. Them man are done with the money thing. Everything is digital. And all of them is a part of this thing. And then you hear the next one about the UNESCO and the LGBTQ, lang letters them, and wherever treat them good, they're professional within the community and all these different. Those are the two things I'm a push. You should make sure to show you pan national radio station, other radio station, all these things. These are agendas. All the central banks around the world is controlled by by one company, one agency. The, so it shows that the world is interconnected. Everything is just systematic. So when they go to when these people go to the UN and all these things, they go to take orders. We're not gonna say we are beggars, yeah. So we don't produce nothing.
Well,
So we're the sheep. So the
Banky,
bigger countries they're gonna put pressure on if they want to. What you gonna do? You just submit. That's what you're gonna submit.
good point.
What you gonna do?
Good point. Good
That's
point
it.
as you mentioned, but good point as you mentioned about the beggars and sheep act, because it leads me to another topic I want to bring on the table. But um,
Yeah, we should, but we don't
before,
have to beg your son because we have resources. That's what I'm saying. We choose to be beggars when we have resources and we not use it. We give our
hold
resources to other
on,
people to come develop. Oh, yes.
before that, I wanted to interject another thing that I found interesting in Mr. Rubio's visit, um, and it makes me really wonder about um, the seriousness of the efforts to really strengthen CARICOM. Because to me, a meeting such as that should have been a heads of government CARICOM meeting where the CARICOM should now be in a position to hold one head or speak with one voice in terms of where the positions are versus the strategy. And this is why I'm saying some of these things might just be strategic in their own ways. The strategy of coming to visit 2 or 3 countries. 'Cause it was Jamaica, Guyana, and
Mm-hmm.
Trinidad were the three territories that were really um, earmarked for the trip. And so, the strategy.
Give me a minute,
the
son. Go ahead.
yeah, the strategy within war is to seek to weaken the camp by picking out one or two or three, you know, where there's a weak link or the one that you might think might be more cooperative and so on. And then those other territories are the bigger country and the more militarized countries within CARICOM as well. Um, and so it leaves some very interesting positions and brings some very interesting topics to the fore, because I could recall when this Essequibo issue came up a couple, it was last year, some time back. 'Cause I remember doing a video, a live YouTube video on the issue, and it spoke to the fact that the Essequibo region that is in question is populated by a number of indigenous people, as we were speaking about in the beginning. And nobody is talking about the claim for the indigenous people for the land. They, Guyana is claiming that when they take it over, that they will be Guyanese, and Venezuela claiming, well, when they take it over, these people will be Venezuelans. So why is not there an argument for the indigenous people to continue to own and operate the land? So we still see that sort of recolonization plan taking place, not giving up on these territories, because that's what we see still happening. That war for borders and controlling territories. Now, when that was going on, and the Caribbean community um, were trying to be mediators for the aggression, because you would have had Caribbean territories who would have had relationships with Venezuela, especially with the Petrocaribe fuel deal that many of them had. And so they would have had relations with Venezuela. As a matter of fact, there was actually even at one point some nudge to start to add Venezuela to CARICOM. But I think it was just prior to some one of those kind of wars or overthrowing of the governments and so on, where America put down their foot and so on. But when this was going on, and CARICOM sort of took side with Guyana, Venezuela's position was that, well, you know, CARICOM ain't got any say, because here is it, there's a dispute, and they're supposed to be their friends as well, but they're choosing to take a side, right? Then now America is in defense of Guyana, and seemingly CARICOM is siding also with America, and this is where I guess that sense of force is coming in, where America is seeking to show that they are here to support Guyana, and if anything happens, as well, Rubio would have also mentioned, if they try anything, you know what I mean, it's not going to be a good day for them. You know, when I listen to Rubio, right? I said, by Rubio, it got to be Rubio to be listening to Trump by. Trump must be spitting him out by, because he's saying kind of words, right? That Trump would say. And he's saying kind of words like I hear Rubio say, you know. But on a more serious note, that is one of the issues. And so here is it that we have this issue now, where Venezuela is on our borders, and is supposed to be a friendly neighbor to some extent, as I said, to the point where many of us had relationships with Venezuela with the Petrocaribe arrangement, where they ended up getting cheaper fuel and so on, and were able to get funds to invest in some projects and so on. As a matter of fact, I think that project on St. Kitts there, where they built the buildings there by Baker's Corner. I think that was a Petrocaribe
Mm-hmm.
partly sponsored project within these parts. And so you have that, and so you have that kind of dispute. Um, when there was the Haiti issue again, and that's another reason why Haiti is saying CARICOM, they don't respect CARICOM, because CARICOM would have sat by and watched France doing what they were doing to them all these years and never, sought to do anything. America came in and invaded, and they never did anything. And then now they continue to fight for their freedom and to be able to self-governance and to be able to govern themselves. And here is it, CARICOM is still siding with America and France and Canada and now America was able to use Kenya, Kenyan soldiers to come in to also to invade and fight Haiti. Whilst, and these are some of the issues that we have within CARICOM, whilst Santo Domingo, which is the other half of the landmass, is like as one person described Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic. They said Dominican Republic is like the Israel of the Caribbean in relation to how they're viewed by America, right? And here we have this issue here with us in the Caribbean, where we are open arms with Santo Domingo. And fair enough, we would have had a relationship because some of our foreparents went to Santo Domingo to cut cane and so on back in the day, and they would have gotten children over there and so on. But in terms of looking on and watching as we speak as well, we hear and we look at what's going on with how Santo Domingo treat Haiti as well. And when we look at Haiti, Haiti was one of the first free African countries, and it was not just free. One of the things that Haiti did was Haiti opened up its borders to anybody who were free or were looking for freedom to come. You were just free to come. It was like a free world for any free person in the Caribbean around the world. And we opt to take on the Western narrative in regards to Haiti. And even today, many of us fight Haiti. When we talk about CARICOM and regional integration, and when they were talking about the regional integration movement, the first argument that was presented is, when we open up and free up, all them Haitians going to come and flack up the country, and it's going to be a burden on our healthcare, and it's going to be a burden on our education. And I mean, and I listen to all that.
Obia
No, but
Yasan,
it's what they
Obia
said.
Yasan, Obia
I'm
voodoo,
telling
that's
you,
all from the mind. And nobody want more
but I'm
Obia
telling
and
you
voodoo
what they
than
said.
think it's
That
a
is
neighbors to
excuse at the
holy
minute.
and lie amiga. Veggie did kill me one day, you know.
But they
Why
open, they
it's so
open and
funny?
welcome. They open and welcome the Santo Domingans who are racist towards our Haitian brothers and sisters.
Boy, people are
And I
Spaniards.
mean,
What's your case? They are Spaniards. They are Spanish. They're from look up to
so
Spain.
even
That's
within
what it
even
is.
within the region, these are some of the issues that we don't really discuss. We don't really bring to the fore. It's not on the agenda
Taboo.
of
Yes, and these things
a
are
lot of
taboo.
our
We have
elected
to
officials.
we're gonna figure a conversation on voodoo and witchcraft and all kind of things and how our
Well,
society. I remember a time we can't the custom was in the square, right? Couple of years ago. Yeah, so the money thing they confiscated, right, from people, right? It was amazing. Things are so way people think. And they like to blame other people. Even if about the Christina, this is the spirit and they sink the boat and all kind of madness with the boat overload. That's what they think. Me go up in the yard, everything but jump story. You don't even want to walk on the place dark. You don't even want to go outside. Because all you hear about Jack a long time and I want to know it.
okay,
You have to hear from man
yeah,
stand flakes and the parents and them. Yeah. Even tells me uncle
but
ask me, boy, you don't hear people up there talk to you? Me say, yeah, me never have to reason all the time. Yes.
we continue. Gigi say Achu, and then she said Gigi Williams Keith say I rather the Haitians than those from the Dominican Republic. Um, it's for me. It's not even so much a rather. I am just more looking at the political stance and issues and how our Caribbean people have been brainwashed into
Yes.
thinking that anything that is of the revolution is bad and we should
Yes.
disassociate ourselves with it in any way, shape, or form. So, like for example, as Banky spoke about a lot of what's happening in regards to the brethren in Burkina Faso. No, I may not totally agree with the fact that he would have taken over the government by a
Well,
coup
you have to do
and
that, yeah,
by
son. You have to do that.
by
You have to do what you
military
do.
means. No, no,
Yes,
no.
son.
Hold on,
You have
hold
to.
on, hold on,
We
hold
have to
on,
do
Banky.
the
Hold
planning.
on, hold on, hold on. Here's what I'm saying. Here's what I'm saying. It's not that I am saying that I justify
But we're
it,
not
right?
the man do what you
That's
have to
not
do.
the part that
They
I'm
have to
getting
do
at.
what the people want.
Right, this is what you have to do. The part that I
And
am
what the
getting
people
at
want,
though
yeah,
is
son.
no, by whatever means he got there, let's look at what he's doing. So I'm not looking at
No, they don't
by
want to watch
what
that.
means he
They don't
got the
want to watch that.
power. I am looking at the
Yes.
thing that he is doing. And I think that a lot more of our leaders, especially in the Caribbean, need to be taking some pages out of his book. So if they want to
Okay.
argue and say that, okay, we because this is what leadership is saying in these parts, and this is why we're not hearing much of the
So with the
leaders in
wastage
these
money,
parts
that
talk
we
about it.
wastage money, so we wastage money on our kind of projects. You build a jail that costs 5,500 passport. Well, anybody who been a part of this, the kind of say, should be in jail because the jail costs $30 million. But why you give a 5,500 passport for? Explain the
Well,
one day to me.
they
Uh huh.
argue that it is democracy and the people
Oh,
voted for it.
democracy.
So then that mean whatever you
So
all do,
voted for what? No,
that,
explain. Voted
that's
for
what I'm
what?
telling you, Banky. But that's why I
Voted
keep
for what,
telling
your
you,
son?
Banky. In
Selling
in my
55 passport
discourse,
and one project cost $30 million.
in in my discourse, in the more recent time, I am not spending my time to chastise and address any
Yes.
politician. I am addressing my people because I want my
Yes.
people to wake up and open up their consciousness because the politicians are conscious of what they're
People know
doing.
better.
They
People know
know that
better,
it's
your
a
son.
game they're playing. They
The
know.
people know
So
better
me not need, some of the people know better, some don't. I don't think some
with
know.
some don't. With some don't.
A
Those who
lot,
don't
a lot, a lot of
comprehend.
a lot of these young people who are not paying
Uh-huh.
attention and are easily swayed when election come around and they get the little $500, they get the little this and the little that and so on, and they feel good and then they say yeah, right. A lot of these people are not necessarily paying attention to the real issues and like even some of these things that we are discussing here, because
Yes.
what the politicians do as well, Banky, is not bring some of these issues for discussion. They continue. They know the people gonna get riled up, and so they bring the issues that gonna rile them up. No, let's be realistic, Banky. In St. Kitts and Nevis, if you want to get followers on any
Yes.
talk show or public platform, talk politics.
Of course.
Talk
This
politics.
talk nonsense. This
And
talk nonsense.
the
But the,
show, the show full up. The show full of thousands of
yes.
people. If you come here and you start
Yes.
to talk politics and you start to show cost, you say, well, oh, NRP this, CCM this, PAM this, Labour this, PP, PLP this, and all that. Yeah, man, you get, and the politicians are aware of this and they prey
Mm-hmm.
on the emotions of the masses.
Yes.
And so they know if they keep you like this, then you'll be distracted. And so then that's why they could do a lot of other things around the corner while you're distracted, pitted against one another, cussing one another and
Mm-hmm.
arguing over some dumb little stupidness, right? That is not even relevant to anything, right?
Okay, let
Um,
me yes,
but
son. So
the real issues are not
yes.
brought to the table. Yes, go ahead.
So you're telling me, okay, so you grew up in a home where your parents then probably used to support NRP or Labour or PAM or UNEP or whoever it is. So your
Mm.
children and you grow up and you start see things differently and wherever as you and you say, boy, no, this them people are can me on because you see how your parents never go out there fight for these same people who ordinary, you understand, and turn politician or whatever, and how they start to play distinguish and this and that and whatever and the people in the community to get a house, they gotta do this and sleep with them and one ton of things, you understand? So you could see these things, your parents see these things, you got children could see and say, well, dad, well, these people don't make no sense. And them get children now. I see. So you got 4 or 5 generations, I see, and you want to talk about the whole family they got dead and dead NRP, PAMA, labor, and anything there. So nobody think for themselves. My children don't think so. Me not raise
Well,
nobody to think so. You
well,
understand? It's madness. Hold me accountable.
look we in 2025,
Yes.
and if we have elections tomorrow, the
Yes.
people would be
Of course.
still very comfortable in their elected officials pledging allegiance to King Charles III, his heirs and his successors.
Psychologically,
That just
something is wrong with this.
and they don't have any
Psychologically,
issues
something
with
is
that.
wrong with this, your son. You
You
can't tell
you
me
you
gonna
have
say me gonna dead a NRP, me gonna dead a CCM, me gonna dead a this. Me and paint me two blue and green and red and yellow and put on a yellow tie, a blue tie, a green tie in me
okay.
grave.
So
Would that send
we,
me
we come
heaven?
around we come around to the point that remember you when you were talking about we become beggars and so on. I tell you that that's gonna lead me to a point. Well, we get to that point, That's this is this topic, right? Um, and it's going to, and I guess it's spin off because we were talking about the King Charles and so on, and the Governor General now is what kind of come into focus. But before we speak to the Governor General, right? Um, I don't know if you're aware that I don't know if it's last year, I think it's last year, some months ago, um, we, the children of the former colonializers of Britain were asked if you're coming to Britain to sign some kind of farm, some ETA farm, I think, right? That was what you need to get signed before you get into Britain. They then introduced a visa, and they had a visa fee for you to enter Britain. Now, in recent times, I don't know if it's a couple of days ago, maybe a couple of days ago, or a week ago, or whatever, um, they would have started to increase. I think it's supposed to start today, as a matter of fact. I think so there's an increase now in the visa costs for
Yes.
each different
Six.
category to go to England,
Yes.
right? Now, here is my thing. We seemingly really are beggars because we are seeking to entice them to come to our borders. And they don't have to pay any visa or get any visa to come to St. Kitts and Nevis. So why is it? I think that is unfair. And that is a true demonstration of really us being beggars. Because here's it that we have these people who, in America's case, Britain too, in some cases, deporting you, trying to get you out of the country because even the families of those who went up on the Windrush, their descendants, and in a lot of the cases, these people were not documented, not because they didn't want to be documented at the time, they didn't see the need or feel the need to, or had the need to, because at that time when they went, most of these colonies, they were considered as colonies of Britain. So they would have been, they were owned by Britain. So when you went to Britain to work at that time, you just went to the mother colony. It's like you leave St. Thomas and go mainland US to work. And that was the understanding. So now these people, they were not documented when they get there. And then they got children, and the children got children. So a lot of these generations are there, and their parents now were not documented. So as a result, um, they are faced, some of them are faced with deportation and so on as a result of not being officially documented in Britain. Then we have the American case now where we see right now um, ICE is on the move to seek to deport as many persons out of the territories as possible. So why is it that we are so open with our borders, as you said, as we pointed out here, is because are we in that begging position where we don't have anything, and so we so dependent on tourism. Well, even if you don't want to add a visa, well, you could add a special tax. Um, so will all who come from England and all who come from, you could have a matching tax. You know, as long as you come to the
Yeah, of
airport,
course. You
you
have to
gotta
pay this
pay
fee.
this extra. How much ever they decide to
Of course.
charge for their visa? You say, okay, well,
Yes.
each passenger have to pay this, and it goes into the government fund, because I think England is
Of course.
arguing that they are not making money, and so this tax that they're putting on is a revenue generation for the government. Well, we want
And
revenue
even if you're
too,
going
so
to
we go.
transit, even if you're going to Africa and if you go to
Yes,
France or wherever you're going, your transit
you
still
gotta
got to
pay it.
pay.
You gotta pay it.
Yes,
Yes.
it's a money making. It's
But
a money making thing.
we need to have leaders who got that kind of mindset, and I say that because it segue into this other issue that I find sometimes in our efforts at diplomacy, or what is considered diplomacy by our leadership. Now, in the last recent years, there would have been a push by a lot of the politicians, especially the foreign ministers, to seek to get as much visa-free access added to their passports, to strengthen the passport in the efforts of seeking to be in a poised position for the citizenship by investment. So you
Yes.
find that a lot of the diplomatic relationships that were developed in the same case that we're talking about here, in a case where it's not reciprocal, where they have visa free access to come to us, but we don't necessarily have visa free access to go to them. We, in some cases, still have to get visas to go to them. So I am thinking that in negotiating our people, if we are truly in a negotiating position, it should be a fair argument, and not that you're demanding to be. And the same thing I feel about um, the America coming to the Caribbean issue and seeking to demand and push their policy, and trying to like hold a big stick over some sovereign leaders, as if like, okay, well, we can't choose to do what we really need to do. And that is what um and that is one of the reasons why I am questioning the wisdom in not using CARICOM and the heads of government space to deal with that representative that came from the US, versus that strategic approach where you took 3 or 4 of the bigger countries in the Caribbean and pull them in and get them to support America, and then some of these other small islands too will be looking to these bigger islands as well. And so you got to humble yourself, because when you look at it, um, if anything is supposed to pop up in the region, um, and America don't have Trinidad, Guyana, and Jamaica on the side. Well, these other little islands, what other military equipment they got to say, what I mean, help them out in anything, right? Because remember, each one a sovereign nation still, and each one, and these are some of the issues, each one have opted to align with or have diplomatic relations with some who are even rivals to each other. So in the case of um, Jamaica got relations with China. Sinkis and Nevis have relations with Taiwan. And Taiwan and China are like Ukraine and Russia. And then you have Russia and Nigeria also linked up with Grenada in the case of extracting the oil and so on. And we now are now seeking to make diplomatic relations with Nigeria as well. And developing, I should say, because I think they would have had diplomatic relations as well. But I think in terms of the reciprocal arrangements, we need to have that sort of diplomacy. Not you got a one-way diplomacy where they get visa-free access to us because we are seeking to get people to our borders. And I guess, Banky, this is one of the reasons why now they are seeking to look to other alternative sources to get tourists. So now they're looking to go into the African market, which is a market that was there all the time. but we would have been bamboozled
That's the
by
whole,
the same
that's the whole point.
Eurocentric mindset, and thinking that Africa is people over there starving and suffering from malnutrition and all that, and not recognizing that there are millions, like Nigeria in itself. The population of Nigeria could cover, me sure, the whole Caribbean plus, and Nigeria is just one state in Africa. And then you have so many millionaires and billionaires in them parts there. And some of these people truly don't even never even hear about St. Kitts Nevis, never even hear about the Caribbean. So when they're thinking about taking a trip somewhere, traveling somewhere, they're thinking of maybe going to the Europe or going to America or Canada. But then when you start to tell them about the Caribbean and invite them and give them that experience, but it was never offered to them in the first instance. And so that's why I said I don't necessarily have any problem with the leadership seeking to make that move, because it is something that is
Yeah.
absolutely necessary. You could critique, it should have
Of
been
course.
before
I mean,
and all these other things,
yes,
but
because
it is a step in the direction.
Because as I said yesterday, we keep going back all the time with the past leaders, them, and it doesn't matter whoever they. I mean, well, with Douglas, you see, Douglas was dealing with Libya from a long time, because Libya was supposed to open up a bank here. Gaddafi was supposed to open up a bank. You know what I mean? In St. Kitts, when putting $1 billion. So these things just ain't continued, and because you see they end up and kill them and all this different stuff. Because once you're gonna set up these things, those who outside there, because you see the reality of the world, it's all about a race controlling the other races, The Caucasian one always being charged, So whether it's in Russia or whether it's in America and Canada, is nothing changes. We're just living in a system where enslavement still continues, and we
Banky,
keep submitting. Yes.
well, Banky,
Uh-huh.
the thing is, right, the good thing
Yes.
is, right, there is some level of hope. Amidst all that's
Yes.
going on, there is some level of
Yes.
hope. When we look at, as we spoke about the leader in Burkina Faso, Mali,
Of course,
and I
definitely.
think
Yes.
in Niger,
Yes.
right, and we see what they're
Yes.
doing, that's a sign
That's
of
the whole
hope.
point.
As
Well,
much
that's it.
as many may want to say that, these are countries that were taken over by coup and all of that, what they're
That's fine. Well,
demonstrating is
we were taken over too
proper. I
by
think
Turks and Kurds and slaughtering and all kind of stuff the same way. But I mean, what the difference is, you fight them up for your country.
I think
This all.
Ghana is seeking to align with them as well, and the Banky. And
Yes.
as I talk about hope, this is what I'm talking about when I said we have hope, because
Yes.
recently we would have seen the rise of a female leader in Africa. She would have taken position in Namibia, and in just a couple of days, she got in, and she's demonstrating that she ain't ramping with them, as we would say. You know what I mean?
Yes.
She ain't ramping with them. So let me probably share this with the public.
President Netumbo Nandi Ndaitwa, who took charge last week. Her government is taking a stand against the United States and other Western nations that deny visa-free entry to Namibians. And this move didn't come out of nowhere. Last May, Namibia announced it would require visas from nationals of countries that don't reciprocate visa-free travel for Namibians. A total of 31 countries, including the US and the UK, were listed under this policy shift. Moreover, this decision comes amid growing frustration across Africa over strict US visa policies. Just last month, the US released its 2025 visa waiver list, granting visa-free entry to travelers from 40 countries. But not a single African nation made the cut. And for Africans, securing a US visa has never been easy. The process involves long applications, expensive fees, and high rejection rates. Meanwhile, tourists from the United States have had it relatively easy, walking into African countries without a visa, or at most paying a small fee upon arrival. And social media has taken notice of this. Many users are applauding Namibia's move, calling it a long overdue push for reciprocity. Others see it as a bold stand against Western dominance. But not everyone agrees. Some worry that even a small drop in high spending American visitors could impact investment and tourism in the country. Tourism is a big business for Namibia. The country welcomed more than 800,000 international visitors in 2023. Among them, 22,544 were from the United States, a small but significant number. Despite the policy shift, officials remain confident that Namibia will continue to attract international visitors. But this decision goes beyond tourism. It's a statement about fairness, diplomacy, and Africa's place in global travel. And Namibia is no longer waiting for permission to set its own terms.
Well,
Yes, son. Yes, son.
Yes, sir.
It's the same way where we have to seek to go to the US when people travel from here to get a visa and go to the same way. Supposed to be Americans supposed to come and apply for a visa and be charged before they come in with country too. We are foolish people,
Well,
brethren.
well,
This is a problem. These are common sense things. That's what common sense we deal with, you know.
That is what she has
These are
done.
common sense things.
She is
What's
revoking visa-free access to, I think it's 30-something countries. That is not reciprocating,
Yes.
which means
Of course.
if you
It's
got,
common
I got
sense.
you got visa-free access to me, but I ain't got visa-free access to you. So, and this is our
No, it can't
scenario with America, with even Britain.
We love to praise and let these other countries advantage us. That's the problem. We look up to these countries like our saviors.
A lot of it comes down to the reality is that those who we hire to lead us, those who we hire to represent us, are failing at their responsibility because they haven't seen the position where they have to beg. They are not.
We are hire people who into real estate. That's the problem, brethren. If you're going to be hiring people to run your country who into real estate and their friends are into real estate, but what do you think they're going to do? What do you think they're going to do, brethren? Check out the cabinet and them and see who are into real estate. Both think it's news and show the Caribbean. And that's how it is.
So, Banky, so you're cementing my point that it's the people that we need to address. Because it's the people
is the problem.
So that is why I'm telling you, that's why I tell you I am not stressing myself with the politician. It's the people them who is aware of these things and still up to do these things. So it still have to make you wonder. Like if
because you have to.
What we're talking about, and
you have to hold the leaders accountable, because when there's out there coming to the same regular person.
But that is why they do it, because nobody hold them accountable. That is the problem. So that is why I am addressing our people, so our people can get to the point where they start to do what you do. Because what you're doing now is standing up and holding them accountable. That's why I said that. I think I told you so on one program before that they'll need another 100 or 1,000 bankies in order for us to see that kind of change. Because it's just you right now, but you need another 1,000 like you that gonna speak out and don't care and don't do it because no party, but just do it because you're a citizen and you care for the country and you really want to see the changes.
The government choose to put me in charge of a 40-acre farm, $1 million project, and the brightest brighter than the stand, the moon and the sun put together. They said nothing waste of time for days and for days and for months and for years. You hear them talk about it, and the more they talk, the better the things them grow. You understand? Because everybody bright. But my thing was to show the people of Gingerland, protect your land. Don't let nobody come and tell you. So how come the same land them? So you see everything is manifest how the universe work. So how the same land then called Indian Castle going right back to over by the port, Long Point Port, is the same type of environment the south side. Right up to the wind farm. So how come the same bright people them know everybody want the same side they go do development? You see? Everybody got ways doing it. Them a con artists, brethren. So the way forward is accountability. You see? This was just went there is the 27th, because the 2 years was missing, COVID will be the 29th of the agriculture open day. 2 years now, there's not one grain. I can't even say where, some say can. One at the floor from okra, or one at the floor from we call it there, a sorrel. Just one 10-pound watermelon come out of Indian Castle. When me carry melon into Indian Castle, is he no trucks. Me have to hire, over 9,000 pounds a melon. When me ask them who is the chief extension officer, I tell well, how much melon they used to go so? Everybody like blown away, but this is a normal thing for me. Me go melon and New River, truckloads. And it's a normal thing how you pull on them out with the truck. You understand? Them big 5 yards, 5.5 yards truck. Normal thing. They say, well, for the 2 days, about 15 to 2,000 pounds. My heart start to bleed. Me nearly end up in the... We say, what? Madness. And they're afraid again about 20... So long again, 27 years. And never, ever, ever produce 2,000 pounds of melon. Just open the gun, no melon that they're ready to sell. Well, how much melon they harvest? 1,000 pounds? No melon that they're ready to sell. Nothing there to sell. Because some of the estate now produce. You see? And people, they say, the chief extension and this, and the minister they're talking wanting a crop, say in the house, he's going to start the second phase. Well, when I tell the minister, the first quarter done, this is April, second quarter start, that never happen. Culturama is all about right now. Nothing going on, and it never ever happen again. They can't do it because you start this project. You don't say a water issue when there's no water issue. So how you want to start the next 60 acres? None of those children, them is idiot, and fools, So if something no make no sense, we not entertain it. We not entertain it. The minute you could speak well and wink up the eye and wink up the body and whatever with the talk. Me never time for them crap there. Crap is crap, virgin. If you don't fail, you don't feel my hand and from you. So right now, for me, everything is held at the commander in chief. Everything at the premier foot. Everything. Because he gave me the position, he should fail. He used to speak the most about Indian Castle. He and the whole cabinet. And all them silent, can't talk. Indian Castle just like at the hospital, they can't talk. They can't talk and they can't start it. And me don't got the upper London housing don't got over 250 rolls of fencing wire. I don't had let the farmer PS order. Okay, they sit down and lock up. It might give them to the food security project. They have electrical solar fencing units up there with the wires them. And the taxpayers things they've been a virgin, so the whole up on them for. If you still want to help your farmers them to reach the 2030 goal now, and you just a whole lamp and wire, as far as don't bring in the pipes and them and all these things to the project, they can't start. They don't start. Yes, sir.
The is going to start in the first quarter.
Will the first quarter not done yet?
No.
And next year, when is the first quarter finish? If this month, yeah.
Maybe they didn't tell you which year. The first quarter for which year?
I miscount. Don't me count. Me count wrong. No, me count the first quarter in the 4s or 3s. When me count in the 3s, well, no say no 3s was every 3 months. Well, how the quarter then go every 4 months? Yes, and virgin, once you don't fail, me not hear from your virgin. Don't tell me give you chances and chances and chances. So they give you 10 chances to come where you're supposed to do the first thing right one time. No, you see me go by my uncle farm and set it up, clean it up one time, bring in excavator, backhoe, got all my wire, all my G-plane, all my banana cheese, all my coconut cheese. One time project. One time in 1 month. Done. I saw you do things, virgin. You see? So when people attack, you could talk from now till Timbuktu. Me now I got time for your talking. Let the works be seen. So this month also start where increments supposed to be given to the civil servants. That is what the premier had sent it. Well, I hope none of the cabinet now get an increment. I hope none of them at agriculture who fail at Indian Castle don't they get none? Because they're supposed to get none. And all in other areas who have failed ain't supposed to get none. Them who produce supposed to get. So who gonna grade people who have failed and gonna rate all the excellent workers and who gonna rate them things when none of them have failed? When for 2 years not come out of a project. And that's the reality, Virgin. So somebody a lie. You see? Me not have time for them things there. Me not grow so. And me not change no way to entertain nobody way to be a part of the team. Me not a team player. Me not be a team. Me not be a part of a team player. Me not entertain it. Me not hug you up and me see you come. Me not hug up man. You understand? Me not in it. Me not entertain them things that your son. Me not in them things the burden. It's responsibilities. You say you want this position. If you qualify, good. If you can't want to talk about food or you not drill water for food, where you get water from? Agriculture is the most water. We only doing ourselves a favor by growing our own food in a Virgin. Because we thought food and the trees and them we don't really exist. Because we breathe out carbon dioxide, the trees taking all this carbon dioxide to help produce the food and stuff like that through sunlight and turn it to carbohydrates and stuff like that. You understand? And save us from ourselves. You see, the trees that save us from ourselves, giving us food, giving us oxygen. But we're so brilliant. We think we're better than the trees. So then we live in our nice home, have our nice car, put our nice pointed shoes and rumpled skin shoes and whatever. And then we go eat poison food. And so we're smart and we're 98% literacy. So we slowly rush and do like clean up ourselves. That's how intelligent we are. It's like we're living in a dump. We keep our environment dirty, but yet we feel good. It's craziness. Something with us psychologically. Trusting food coming in from outside who you don't know these people, supporting out all the millions and millions of dollars when we have the same resources here. Yes, son, we can turn agriculture into a sustainable, you understand, and then next we're putting money into the consolidated fund, and we'll be successful just and better than any other tourism.
Well,
and then they knows these things.
That can happen, eh? It can happen. But you know what would have to cause that to happen? Two things. Only two ways I could see that happening. One, we get a leader like Ibrahim Traore. Two.
That one come, man. Easy thing that.
Wait, two.
The most come. Yes.
Two. We find a way to make sure that the boat them can come in for a couple of weeks, a couple of months. And the shelf them in the supermarket can get full up. That's the only time those who are at the helm who are making remember, they're making extra and surplus and they're getting per diems and all these things,
Mm-hmm.
So they could afford to buy the food. Not very much expensive.
Yeah, but they can't eat the money.
But how expensive the food get, how expensive you get in the supermarket, they could buy it.
They could purchase it.
Many
of course.
can buy it. So their rationale for food security is different.
Yes.
This is what I'm saying. So how there's this food security?
Of course.
It's only that time when they can't get the food is when they would really be pressed to say, "Boy, we really got to go do something, boy, because no food there." I mean, we got to do something. But if they could get food, they could get in nice fancy speeches when it's necessary, and we could buy a boiler chicken thing and put it down because we're not going to worry because the boat can still bring in chicken. So even if we never set up a boiler factory, ain't no problem because the boat still bringing chicken. So I can't argue and say that we have a shortage of chicken.
Yeah, but
and that's
the boat bringing
mindset,
chicken
but
is
that's
fine.
the mindset.
But then you don't know how old those chicken is. If they're 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, because they sure ain't a week old.
That's not the point. That's not the point. The point is you're getting chicken. Same
yes,
thing.
Yes, you are people eat unsafe food and all this. So you're engineering an illness upon your people by eating bad food. Where
they ain't seeing that.
We are
people ain't seeing that. Banky, well, look at it. Look at it.
Okay, so
who sell the most poisonous chemicals to spread the food?
Government, agriculture department in both St. Kitts and Nevis.
So
Okay. So you're telling me we go to all these institutions, like the seven pillars, the church, the school, and all these things. So these preachers and so on, no. What going on when it comes? Everybody have to eat. They don't have no concern where the food come from, the water quality, the air they breathe. None of these things. No interest.
No,
How the
no, no,
environment
no.
is recycled with all the litter and all these different things, and how the waste is being engineered and stuff like that for safe environment. And no, we do not think so.
It is
Do not think
convenient
so.
when it's convenient when you're going to go to one of those conferences and so on, and you're going to be on the podium, and picture is going to be taken, and it's going to send back home, and you have a fancy speech to say, this is what we're going to do, and this is yeah, and then they
The,
know that
the reality is
9 days after everybody
that's
forget
good.
about that.
The reality
But
is 20 years gonna come in now. In the next 20 years gonna come soon. They might think they have 20 years far from now. Some might don't transition. You see? It's not them problem. Some might in a wheelchair, some might wear diaper. You see the difference you may get?
watch here,
Because so
Banky,
we think,
here,
so we see
yeah.
things.
Whether they're gonna be in there or not, listen part of the mindset of these guys as well. At the end of the
Yes.
day, right? All what you are saying right now, right? And all the
It
cuss all
matter.
you want, cuss and all the go on all you want,
It
go on.
matter.
Hold
It
on.
matter.
Even if tomorrow you decide
Yes.
we fed up and we're gonna vote you out, when you vote them out, their salary set for the rest of their life. Wherever they were getting, they getting that. So you think they care? You stop there. You
Many who
think
had
they
more than
really
what I got done
they want more?
gone
That's why if they could stay
so
in and get more, if they could
yes,
stay in and get more, they could stay in and get more. But then no, so
that's
this is the,
fine.
this is the thing for them. It's a win-win for them. There's nothing to lose. Because if they lose seed,
Nothing lasts
they're still
forever.
gonna be paid handsomely.
Nothing lasts forever. That's what we know.
So
You see?
until the people wake up, until we get more bankies, like I'm saying,
Yes.
that is going to be open
He
and
got
speak
plenty
and
around, Virgin. He got plenty around. You
yeah,
understand?
but
In me
they
alone
might
think
not
so.
come to the public.
Many think
They might
so.
not come to the public like you. They might not come to the public platform like you. So you make a many,
Well,
but
meta, well,
part,
yes,
that is part of the problem as well, Banky. Even though you may have many, they are not
yes.
outspoken. They want to be docile and sit in a corner and grumble. And when
Well,
it's
this
time
thing,
to
my
speak out and
environment, you
talk,
understand? My environment allowed me growing up, you know what I mean, is to express myself and all of us the same way and to speak. And if somebody do something, you speak or you don't keep it to yourself. So people couldn't harm
and
us
you don't have to
or
be
try to do us
disrespectful. You don't have
anything.
to be disrespectful.
Yes,
You could speak up
exactly.
and defend yourself without being disrespectful.
That's the
And
whole
that's my
point.
thing.
That's the whole
But
point.
part of the problem is when you do, because of the culture of the society as well, when you do, you are deemed maybe the opposition, or you deemed supporting the opposition because of how the government have the people structured, is so politically polarized that their thinking is if you ain't for them, then you're supporting the opposition. So you as an individual can have a independent opinion. You can listen to two sides of a story and come to your own conclusion. No, you ain't smart enough to do that. You have to be supporting the opposition if you choose to oppose anything that they're doing. And here's the funny thing: when you oppose what they're doing, you're not opposing their personal life. You opposing the job that they're hired
The
to do,
job,
that
huh?
you hire them to
Of
do.
course.
You taxes paying them to do, and you challenge them, are challenging them based on what you hire them to do, and then they want to make you feel as if you are the problem or you are the bad one. And so it is this kind of reverse psychology that we have to work to get our people to understand their true position with these people so that they can then learn to deal with them as they are and see them as they are, which are truly just our highest paid civil servants. And speaking about that, in terms of our highest paid civil servants, and speaking about when we went back to talking about what the lady did in Namibia in terms of
Mhm.
dealing with the visa and so on. This is one of the things that I bothers me to some extent. we're coming from this colonial era where you talk emancipation. Our people, after gotten emancipation, they have to work an extra 4 years for free without getting paid. Well, Sinkis and Nevis didn't necessarily fight. Some other territories in the Caribbean fought for independence. Independence was given to Sinkis and Nevis because we had become like an expensive university child for our parents, an expensive bill. They couldn't afford to take us on anymore. So they give us our independence and tell you go fend for yourself. They didn't give us anything, absolutely nothing. Sim Daniel and others had to borrow money and things to build the economy in Nevis and whatever they did in Sinkis, and then they start out and get the CBI and the offshore industry, and then they got into some hotels and all that to build up the economy. So one of my thing is, and this is why I keep saying our elected officials, what we need a governor general for? Why should we be paying over $1 million to have somebody to represent who we say we are free from? Like, and this is why I'm saying, like, with all this 90+% literacy rate and so on, you claim to be independent and free from King Charles, but yet the highest paid position in your country is a representative of King Charles. In your country, if you want to change a law in your country, the King Charles authority must be in the house, and his representative is in a piece of wood. So we talk about Obi and Voodoo and so. It's a piece of wood in the piece of wood in the color mace, and that is the king's authority. If somebody go in there and thief that, you can't change no line. You think it's a Nevis.
They can't give house of assembly. That make any sense?
When they talk about Obi and Voodoo and so, them their spiritual wickedness in high places, because a piece of wood in there, and that represents the king's authority. And if somebody take it out, you can't pass no law in there.
You don't see the policeman that coming with the mace by the shoulder, I walk in, and I walk out.
So how we so independent and we still at that level? We still can't see beyond this level to see that this is something that need to change. That we can't say we independent and still pay. I mean, look at it. For my thing, this is how I see Banky. Hold on, Banky. Hear what I'm saying. Yeah. If they want the governor general being paid, I say that if they want to still maintain the status, they pay them. Let the monarchy pay for that representation, then pay that $1 million to keep you. Since you say it's just it's just, because they say you're not gonna authority, we're gonna power, it's just symbolic. We pay for the symbology there. Why should we, the taxpayers, have to be paying for that symbology for somebody that we don't want in the first instance? Help me make sense of that. We balling for taxes. We balling that we're not gonna money. The government that boss it, but they're gonna take up $1 million. Because when the budget, I think the last budget, it was over $1 million. They would have got to pay the governor general and the deputy governor general. So
if the referendum to the people to say that if we should move away a poll, these are things you will be surprised to see where the mindful of the people are, and they give the people what they want.
Well,
you see what I mean?
Well, Banky, the Prime Minister, early on in his reign, when he came in, he did say that he wanted to make that move, and he would make that move in his time. But you see, that's why I say sometimes these guys, they just have speeches when it's convenient. When the topic is like, they play an emotion. Well, he didn't say which term, but he said that he would have dealt with it. But the thing is, after that, we have never heard any conversation about it. We have never heard any debate stimulated about it. It was never brought up in the house. Now, nothing. So there's no evidence to show that these guys are serious about making these moves. But yet, you're going to have another election, and we're going to have these elected officials going and take up King James version of the Bible. And then, these are the kind of things that sometimes people don't even know the history, because King James, the same man Bible who he also wrote a book named Demonology. So King James got a book named Demonology, many of you know, but the same King James, he got a book named Demonology.
Yes, son.
So you write the Bible. When I write it,
King James like boys, yes, son. Yes, son. King James like boys, You understand? And that's the King James like too much of boys. You know what I mean? So me not about King James. King James gonna be alright. King James not write a thing. King James copy a
Well,
lot of things.
these
This
are
what I mean,
things
King James
though
not write nothing.
that these are things and issues that sometimes Banky are not necessarily brought up, and I guess sometimes people think it's personal, but Hailita Laibad was the education officer when I was when I became an educator. So as a matter of fact, I could say she hired me. She who interviewed
Yes,
me because she was the chief education officer. So I'm saying this to say that people hearing me say this, I have nothing personal against the person who is in the position, who is in the seat.
of course
I
not.
don't
Of
personally
course
know
not.
Marcella Liebert like that. I know Junior Liebert, and
Yes.
I know her. I don't really have a relationship like I would have a relationship with Miss Liebert and Nevis, because I know Miss Liebert
Yes.
personally. But even today, I think if
Of
we were
course.
supposed to see each other right
Beautiful
now,
lady,
we would
man.
hug each other,
Beautiful
we would hug
lady.
each other and
Beautiful
laugh and
lady.
talk, and you know what I mean,
That's how she
right?
treated. Yeah,
So
man. Beautiful lady.
it's nothing personal. So I want to make sure that people
Yes.
understand that it is nothing personal about the persons who are in the seat at the
No,
point. What
no,
I am
you're
addressing
speaking about
is
the
the
office. The
reality,
office.
the office
Yes.
that we
Yes.
were supposed to be given. We say we independent, but our head of state, according to our hierarchy of government, the highest position is the governor general, and the governor general represents the king or the queen, because their claim is
Of
it is
course.
their land still and they can't be everywhere. So they have a representative in their territories.
Yes.
So the governor general is a representative of the king. So if we are supposed to be independent and you let us free, so to speak, you ain't give us no money. We have to find our money to do what we want to do and achieve whatever we need to achieve as a country. Why should we have to take $1 million of those same taxes to pay for somebody to represent you? That me not get that, Banky. Me not get it. And how people
It's
sit on
nothing
all
to.
these years and feel like I see people. I mean, like the other day, Virgin, but like I guess we know this kind of mindset. People glad that the king give them some kind of um thing to walk on with, some kind of accolades, and those people who get the um crown, council, and sir, and all of these things, and get knighted
And
and so on,
the MBE and that kind of
and
something.
MBE and all of these things, and they rate these things. I mean, people become Rhodes Scholar. You know who was Cecil Rhodes? You know what I mean? Like, but when people don't know themselves, right? Then they
Yes.
glorify things that they shouldn't glorify, the things that they really should be despising with
You see,
uttermost
in these times around, yes, son, we got to change our
despicable.
whole political landscape and leaders, and select very carefully who we put when it come to. And you see all these 90-year-old and 40-year-old and 50-year-old parties, they need to go into extinction. Nobody want to hear nothing from them because the evidence is there, brethren. Brethren, in the next 20 years, and up man done up in our 70s or so, we're gonna away the new ancestors. That's the reality. We soon 50. So how the hell you gonna tell me when me don't grow up, when me a teenager, I hear my parents them talk about this and talk about that and Pam and labor and this, and I don't play bracha in a high school in a fifth farm when me there 5A1. They don't got me play bracha. Pan this stage, me, David, James, David was Vissy Bird, and James was John Campton and St. Lucia, and me Bradshaw, and me have to go up on stage and say, "Go give I boy in our rice and pepper in our soup." I want to know who the teacher at the time who made me say that day where the evidence was. Because when I don't do my research, I never, ever, ever, and at the time when I asked him where this thing come from, oh, they said Bradshaw, but the man could say what he says so. So even at the time when I'm in fifth farm, I'm doing my own research. I can't find the proof of this crap. You understand? They got me all in a Virgin Methodist church as the innkeeper and all. They ask me the things. Me not ask me nothing, but they must select me. You see what I mean? And I play my role and don't back down. My point is our people force, and you see the force that speech pan me to say, and then I'm gonna proof. You show the mind frame of the teachers and our people in our society. You understand? Displaying politics with no proof. You understand? Madness. Madness. So it just show the universe aligned because they put me in these things. And the things that I hear them say, and everybody I spoke to and said that Brat was the best thing there is. All the vision I hear say, spoke about Bracha. They spoke very positive of him. Politics is what make and speak negative and because people get hurt, whatever. You understand? But the man fight for the land and them. That's the most important thing. Without land, you don't exist. That's your wealth. That's your best resource. Everybody coming who wanna come to sing it's a Nevis who come. What they love you, they love the island, they love the island, but they don't love you. They want to take what you all have, you all resources. And study how your behavior. Because they them come for study how you. Can maybe I think they stop study how you. Don't come in all kind of farms and here and there and want to know things. They don't love how you. They love why I got the island is too good for how you. And the people in them who own here, who into real estate, they don't keep selling out because they're benefiting. It's all about money, virgin. This money thing is a sickness. And those who love it, they don't care about who don't love it. Because they're going to do anything to get it.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing we're talking about in terms of the strategy that is being employed by, per se, the Trump administration, and in terms of coming to the Caribbean, but not speaking to the heads of CARICOM, but speaking to one or two strategy. So it's the same way.
Yes.
When they come in to do these things, they know the leaders within the region, which would be weak, and they could easily, come in and do these things with, because this is what they would be offering. And so they come and they do these things. So it's strategy. Some of these people would have come to various different territories sometimes, and they get turned down by those territories, and then we welcome them here. We see a case in point, and as a result, that person now turned out to be, a problem for the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis in terms of, well, a problem and a good still, because as a result, certain things get exposed and so on. But it is in that case, what it is. So we as a people really need to begin to continue to hold our elected officials accountable. Trevor Carbo saying that Bratcher was the best leader for Nevis. We tend to look at the people who were, and you find that a lot, those who were going to be rebellious and stand up against the system, like Haiti. You find leaders who are like that, who's going to stand up and fight against, the oppressors. End up usually they find somewhere to either get rid of them, or they get in line with the opposition and feed them, all kind of information, and get to them to try to bring them down and so on. This is what they do throughout the region. I mean, look at my brethren there, and Maurice Bishop in Grenada. Another powerful leader that the man took out and used that kind of propaganda to spread on the brother, because the brother was seeking to empower our people to say, hey, don't take on these people, let us empower ourselves, and we could do these things for ourselves. So we don't have to be dependent on these people. We could do for ourselves. The Marcus Garvey mentality. And now a lot of our leaders are seeking to catch on.
And you see what Biden do for Marcus Garvey. The man have never done nothing. You see what I mean?
Right.
Man have never done nothing. Yes, let me talk about one or two things there. Charleston Secondary School celebrating the 75th anniversary coming up. So they're having a event there at NEPAC, Malcolm Gishard Park, April 9th. It's an evening of art featuring visual art students at the Charleston Secondary Schools, along with other design students and their class teachers. Also, there will be a local guest artist present. And who will go artist who is better than Van Anslin, who I wonder if he's going to be there, whoever artist they find out, bringing in somebody. So this will be the Malcolm Gishard Park. April 9th, it will be from 6 6:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. Tickets is only 25 EC or 10 US. Definitely support this event, and the event is sponsored by Multiline. That's Andy Libor Day business. I mean, so he's always making his contribution to the six, always partner the six college. So Andy, big up yourself and that. Also, yeah, son, this Sunday coming up, April 6th at Shabba's Organics Master's last stop. We're gonna be having the a family fun day. We have cannabis and educational stuff going on there. Dominoes, bouncing castle. One or two different vendors will come in the same way. ITAL. There'll also be the shop will open with melon and different stuff to be sold there, along with the kitchen. So they'll be doing the normal soul food cooking. So definitely go and support, when you go there, support the kitchen with Aisha and Amini's cooking up the soul food, baked chicken and fish and all kind of different stuff, the popcorn and all kind of stuff for children and so forth, bouncing castle. So I want to play the ad. I send you the ad also by my daughter Jamila. She's my media person who has to do all my different stuff. So this is where you're gonna be.
Get ready for a day of fun, flavor, and education because Shabazz Organics has done it again. Join us on April 6th at Mansa's Last Stop from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. for a melon medley and 420 cannabis-infused family fun day. Cannabis trees on sale, fresh watermelon juice, and cannabis-infused tea. Watermelon eating competition with fun prizes. Learn about traditional and modern cannabis growing setups. Whether you're a beginner or an expert, there's something for everyone. Entry, just 5 EC for adults and 3 EC for children. Bring your family, bring your friends, and come support a day of fun, learning, and community. We look forward to seeing you there.
Yes, sir. Yes, and also yes, son, coming up tomorrow is a big event. I must say, a Madeline event, red carpet event where all the young ones and the middle and the older ones come out to support their teams at the golf insurance and bunny mini Olympics. We call it the interprimary. It's tomorrow, no? I may live too fast in the future. Tomorrow, yeah, it's tomorrow. Tomorrow is Wednesday.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yes, definitely. So that's and that event start from 11 o'clock. I'm not sure. It seems to start a little earlier. So hopefully, I'm not sure if they have a plan to finish on time after or to get the lights started out. But it's a half holiday, so definitely this type of event, you don't know, the cabinet usually are members of the cabinet tend to come over to Nevis one more times in these big event and stuff like that. So definitely, well, I have, when I leave the farm later, I'll pass over if it makes sense and stuff like that. Hopefully, if it's finished between 6 and 6:30, then I'll just head home. But I'll just probably show my face and stuff. If the race is still going on and contribute, yes.
Just an observation. I realize that on St. Kitts is doing some renovations to the Kim Collins Stadium.
Yes, they started last year.
It's not just a track; it's a stadium because they have seating and covering and all that and so on, right? And I guess change rooms and bathrooms and all of these things and so organized. However, one of the things that I noted in their presentation is that in seeking to repair the tracks, they had a number of options. One of them was to deal with the Mondo track, and they opted not to, citing some reasons and recommendations from others that they should go with this particular track, the track that is used by Jamaica and Bolt and all of these others who run on these tracks and so on. And so they would have utilized that. On the Nevis end, seemingly there is supposed to be some repairs to the present Mondo track as it is. Seemingly there would have been some issues that I would have heard with some parts of a particular region of the track. any word on if this is what Nevis is going to do too, in terms of just repairing the track, or if they're also going to seek to get the best quality track for our people, and also if there is any efforts in completing the project, because I think from what I understand, in the
Complete which
initial
project? The
the
Mondo
Mondo
track?
track,
The
yes,
stadium?
yes, the other part, yes,
Coming
because
soon, coming soon, they're coming soon.
the project was in two phases. It was supposed to be the track and then the stadium and so
Coming
on,
soon,
and
yeah, son.
all those
Coming
projects
soon.
coming soon.
Stadium
Okay.
coming
But
soon. 8 years later, coming soon.
there was a sign going up Hamilton, going up there by the hospital where they knocked down a building, and they
Coming
had a big
soon
sign
too.
coming soon, coming
We'll talk
soon.
about
So,
coming soon. You got the steel frame that
oh,
moved back. The
okay.
steel frame had moved, and then put them, bring them back there again. Back in the weather, they had moved them,
So
drop
you're
them
saying,
there. Then when they come with the
I
bus,
use
move
that
them and bring them
example.
back. Coming
I use that
soon.
example to say that that's what you're saying in relation to the Mondo track coming soon.
Anybody
At the
tell me
stadium,
coming
sorry.
soon? I know you can't. Growing up, anybody tell me about, oh, Jesus coming soon. From my mother, tell me coming soon. I know you're canning me. And I've been understanding since I'm in primary school. You understand? And I'm going to be 48 Monday, the 7th. So if you think me take on anybody at my age with the crap, Virgin, I could smell BS over the phone, wherever in the world today, I could smell the BS. So I don't take on people. I watch your works, how you do things, and I always follow the money. So I don't entertain nobody with the crap and wherever they're going with. Me no business about that, because you not fool me. Because me nana, yes. Me phone
Well,
ring, if I don't want to answer, don't answer my phone. That's how me operate. You understand? I don't butt up things. You see me to show you, so I don't play with people in position who are fail and don't do no work and oppress other people and use their situation to advantage others. I don't like people like that, Virgin. I got a problem with that. You see, and we have to put people in places who are bullies. Accountability, that's what me all about. So I want to see if how serious the people like you talk about who, if you're gonna give all the friends and so forth increments when they know, and all these directors and all these supervisors gonna be writing nice, and people who now don't work at the time and still I get all the increments. So you know, see, it's all crap and all talk. Cause they're gonna still get the increments. That's why you know. So all this is fancy talking, you see. So I don't entertain this thing with Virgin. So I want to see them start phase 2 at Indian Castle. You understand? Next thing before we go, the jail project still a bill, no? And how much people is again in there? 400 people have a house or 1,000? You see, I stop bill. What happened to that?
well, I tell you, it's a 9 night thing in Sinkis and Nevis, you know. Your topic is hot for
Uh-huh.
9 days, and then after that, that's it.
20,000 passport is alleged being sold already, you know. 20,000 passport. How many people have a Nevis, yeah, son? I know 20,000 people. You see?
Hmm.
And 20,000, you know. And then there was a show there last Wednesday, and DJ Mario show interviewing this movie guy, Martinez, when he was speaking about the government all receive some extra money from those people who had undersold those passport, and 32 of them have paid extra money and stuff like that. So money gone in the consolidated fund. They gotta give Mr. Martinez
But
a clap and give him giving a tip.
I think
He need a
I would
tip.
have seen in Grenada.
Yes,
I think I see some moves to revoke some
of course.
people's
Yes,
passport if they don't pay up the difference. So I don't know if that
yes,
approach could be also utilized here. After investigation, if you find that this is the case, then you either pay up or you submit the passport.
yeah, of
Those are things
course.
that could be implemented. The couple more comments came in here. So we had Trevor Cabo Cornelia, sorry, says Joseph Parry
Cabo, big up
understands the
yourself.
Navy's people. They understand the Navy's people. It's Parry for me. He also said that the agriculture food fair to me was a dismal failure. How can displayed produce be so expensive while the foreign products are so much cheaper? Um, you know, that is another issue. Even though we seek to push the local farming agenda and so on, but a lot of this would come down to having more people involved in farming. The more produce you have,
Ye-
the more chances
Yes.
of the price to go down. When things are in
You
high
see,
demand, usually
yes.
the price goes up. And then even here on this end, because we're importing almost all of the inputs to actually grow the food as well. You find yourself in a situation where the farmer also have to consider um, his expenses in terms of what he's going to get in return and so on. So as much as that is looked at, there are things that needs to be done. Maybe more collaboration with um, the farmers and those who are in the ministry, and make sure that a lot more of the subsidiaries and so on are shared. We would have had a case where um, as Banky would have highlighted, when they would have had a lot of the goods that were given out for the 25 by 25 agenda by the federal government, there would have been a lots of opportunities for Nivision farmers to get. All that was needed was a letter to be sent to the federal government with a list of the names and so on, and that wasn't done. And you had a lot of farmers who had to suffer as a result, didn't get anything, and then some eventually were able to get some assistance from Banky and I think Danny Atherton, who privately, as private farmers and their connections with the federal government, were able to make some connections for some of the farmers. The farmers and navies were told, in terms of getting wires that were given out freely from the federal government, the option was to go to a private company to buy wires at a discounted price. So you have some of these things, Cabo, that would help to increase the cost of the food and so on. When there were opportunities for the farmers to get a break and so on, some of these things were not, considered. And in a lot of cases, we know um, a lot of things are said about farmers, and they should do this and do that. But a lot of the times, a lot of the support is not necessarily there in a way that it should be.
Yes,
Banky,
so
as we're winding up, yes,
yes.
go ahead, go
With
ahead.
agriculture open day, I mean, I get a lot of feedback and stuff like that. I mean, this year was not a year like last year. I'm not sure if last year is because I was there, the excitement, and a lot of people came just to see the cannabis booth and to be educated and stuff like that. And as the last year, over 300 people came there for the cannabis days. Just this week, you have different people, police officers, people from customs, and different people, the age group, saying like come from tea and kind of something, and just all kind of different people and stuff like that. As James spoke about it last Friday. The thing is, with the open day, the agriculture department itself should focus if they're gonna go onion or go crops that farmers now sell, whether it's yam for agriculture open day. You understand? Onion, sweet potatoes, leave the pumpkin and the melons and even the sweet potato for farmers them, and then the farmers them would sell the produce to general public at that activity for a wholesale price. You understand? Because only them would really be selling those stuff. The department would just grow what the farmers them now sell. The farmers them now go onion, they now go yam like that. You see what I mean? If the department just sell onion alone, they focus on onion, carrot, or whatever it is, and that is just and leave the farmers them. It should be a day for the farmers to sell their stuff at that wholesale price to general public that don't sell to the big entities, where they can really capitalize at that 2 days to make to the plant in abundance, where all of them would really get their produce sell. And the agriculture department, where they have even they shouldn't even be selling food cheese and stuff like that. It reached to a point where the department would just have to slack off of these things and let the general public, those who have the nurseries, because when I went there, the Thursday, and I observed stuff and stuff like that, and I realized one or two, and I asked them, well, what's going on? And one of the comments said, see who make all the money? I say, who? And I look back, and it's because Because before the agriculture department used to had the fruit trees by in their own in the line next to the boat and stuff like that. But no, they put the boat next to those people who selling the fruit trees and the other stuff. So the crowd is right by the agriculture boat. They don't even look over upon the rest of them. You see what I mean? Whereas in other years before, they used to have them by themselves and along with the other those who sell in the nursery, other nurseries by themselves. So they will get a chance to come in. Those are the first people say they will get a who go into agriculture, go to agriculture. But they get some sales and stuff like that. So it's either cut it out because remember it's a government activity now. You're not in it for making a profit in a virgin. You're there to help your people. So certain things you just have to cut out and let the general public really fact because the event is getting bigger and bigger. So like next year the event should go at the Malcolm Gishard Park. So I don't see next year for the government the department to be selling the melon, you know what I mean, those small crops, cabbage, tomato, whatever it is, bell peppers, let the farmers them. I've been telling them for these things for years, you know. So it's not like this. I thought the director them know and the farmer direct pays. This is how I speak all the time. But only me speak like this, so nobody listen to the outcasts. You see what I mean? That's the difference because me not have no alliance within the government system. Never did. Hold sides. Me not hold sides. You see? So I just say things how it is that the people should always benefit most. And when you set up these places, all the agencies coming from the government, where they don't give information, you put them by the section and those who come in and who paying, they put them as you come in an entrance where you just see them, you're attracted to them. First, put them who share information with government agencies. Most of them now don't work anyway. They don't even want to be up there. Put them anyway, put them to the back. You know what you put them. You understand? Can I just there? As a there to yeah, you see what I mean? Those who come out to make money and who always taking part in these things, this should be more in an environment where you see them there and stuff like that. So hopefully we have a different layout coming up because I watch the layout and we're looking for certain people this year, and I realize they'll shift a lot of people from where they usually been and put certain people this and whatever. So I would not make certain changes in a sense like that. But I'm those decisions have never been made by me and stuff like that. So is whatever it is. But hopefully those things could be corrected. But the event now really need to shift to a different place because it's too jumble up now. From what I see, I told the director that they definitely move from there. So when the minister saying that's the expo have a permanent, they're in a permanent place. The minister had a vision. How you want to say there's a permanent place, Virgin? The park is not the ideal place. The Malcolm Gishard Park was built for these functions. Like we have the food fair and all kind of different fetes and topics and big events. Is the ideal place. The aesthetics and everything. So you see the minister them not think, Virgin? Did not think if you just want to leave the park and stroll along the road, go by the beach, supposed to a beach bar and come back up and just sit in the same facility. You gotta think. When they're doing these things.
Another comment on the wall from Trevor Carbo Cornelius. He's saying, but based on what you're saying, it would not have been the farmers, it would have been the agricultural department. He's saying farmers drop the ball every time. Why should I buy a bag of onion for $150 when Rams has similar for $80? But I guess that would have been the department, because you said the farmers don't go onions, right? It would have been the department.
The department. Right. $150. That's what a bag of onion. That's what. Why I think onion used to sell for $50 or something like that. I'm not sure if the price is corrected. Unless something change.
I guess maybe that's why he is making the complaint.
That's what I think. Onion used to sell for $50 a bag. I'm not sure about the $150. That's I have to inquire about that and make
tariff gone and everything now, you know. So maybe tariff end up on the seeds and all of these things and so on. As we are winding down, there are a couple of things that Banky, I think our next set of everything agriculture, we're going to have some very interesting editions. I do have some very interesting international guests line up. We're gonna have a guest that's gonna talk about an app Go Mobile app that we're seeking to introduce throughout the Caribbean and Africa. I happen to be the Caribbean representative for that app. We're gonna get the folks on to familiarize the folks. The app is basically geared towards farming. It's a farming app, so it will help, the trade, whether it's buy and sell produce and products, and you'll get information in terms of the weather and planting tips and tips for all kind of different things. So it'd be like a Amazon for agriculture, so to speak. That's the proposal. There is also a brethren that I encountered from Trinidad who would have been, I think, they're having this event here on Nevis. I think it's next month, called Island Innovation. I want to say, good, good kudos to the organizers of that event. That's an organization that I do get emails from, and I would have participated in a number of their online Zoom meetings and so on. And so I'm familiar with a couple of the persons. And I remember when I went to the meeting last year, they were telling me that they will be coming to my island and Nevis and so on. And I'm seeing a lot of traction in that regards. I think they would have already paid a visit to Nevis and so on. And so there's a lot of advertising where that is concerned. Now, last year or the year before, this brother from Trinidad would have been successful and would have been one of the ambassadors for Island Innovation. And he would have created a product called solar ponics. It is a complete mini hydroponics system that is operated with solar. So all of the pumps and all of that and so on. It has a solar pad at the top and a little thing, a nice little, and so I'll be marketing that. I'll be hoping to get that in these parts of the region. I am very much interested in it, and we will have him on the program as well to talk about it and get people familiar with it. It would be nice for homeowners who, if you don't necessarily want to go out in the dirt and so on, at least you could have your little garden right there in your kitchen or on your porch. It could be good for restaurants, people who want to, show that you're having fresh veggies and so in your meals and so on. So you could have one, as a display to show that. One of the major targets is the schools, because we could have the school children involved, and you could have several of them set up where you could actually have your own little school garden using the product. They don't need a lot to set up. Everything is snapped together, no screws and bolts and nothing like that. Very durable, can withstand a lot of tropical conditions and hurricane conditions and all that. So you don't have to worry about things like that. That's the two. There was a last thing that I had in mind, but I don't know where that is right now. But I guess when that comes back around, those are some of the things that we are going to be talking about on the platform. Okay, I know what the last one is now. I remember, and I remember why I left it for last. This one is this brother I would have met from Ghana, and we are going to be working with them as well. But one of the things that I'm interested in is planning an annual return to the door of no return, that pilgrimage trip. And so we are going to be coming to the platform to inform people about that, and we are going to be working towards that. So I'm bringing it to the public now, so that persons who hear it and might be interested in taking that trip, we are going to be looking to plan that. Ghana, yes. So, in an effort to really, we talk about bridging the gap between the Caribbean and Africa. this would be one such way. And for those who are really interested, actually, a lot has been said in terms of the research that a lot of the people who came these parts came from Ghana and that region of Africa as well. And so there is a sort of pilgrimage where it gives you that opportunity to go back and see. They will take care of everything. They have transportation organized, accommodation, food, places to tour, and all that. So it would be a
Of
package.
course.
So we would be able to
Yes.
advertise and let you know in advance how much you have to pay, and so that you could start to work towards doing it. We would want to do it early
Yes.
so that you could buy your tickets early, because folks who are traveling would know that if you're going to travel, it's best to get your tickets much earlier than waiting until last minute and so on. So we're going to want to throw it out pretty early so that we could have the discussions and then have Zoom, discussions, and create a WhatsApp chat group and so on for people who are interested, and so that we could continue the communication and make this a reality. So St. Kitts and Nevis, start to begin to think about that. Rastafari usually say repatriation is a must. You don't have to be
Yes, sir.
repatriation at this point. You don't necessarily have to stay there, but at least you could go back and touch the soil and see where your foreparents are. Some of you don't want to accept that part, but at least see where that story started. And I'm sure that should be quite an interesting experience and excursion. So let's keep that in mind as we wrap up. I kind of, as I said, I kind of left that for last because I know that is
Yes.
something that is vital and it fits into our scheme of things. See, the government has gone to Nigeria to make that connection. Ghana has been reaching out to us, and Ghana was one of the first territories you could
But
say was
Ghana
saying, "Hey, come
have
home."
lands that they give land to people from the Caribbean,
Yes, they're welcoming people back from
They
the
gi-
Caribbean and welcoming you
yes.
from America and
They-
all over the diaspora. And that's another thing that
yeah.
we are going to be, I'm going to be in the not too distant future, because at this point, um, tomorrow, I should be signing the document to become the official Caribbean representative for this organization. So from there, then I'll be able to start to present the information, and then we will be able to also provide information to people who may be interested in doing business or maybe even considering living over there, so that you could know like how much it costs for an apartment, how much it costs for a home, the kind of price for food, the cost of living. So you could start to
hmm
begin to think like, because what I'm learning, lands are very cheap. The housing, even if you're going to rent a house and so on, the kind of prices I'm hearing over there is almost ridiculously crazy. And we're talking about not no little one room apartment, like over here in California, and so you're paying us $1,800 and $1,200 and so for a little room, and you get in your own house and so with big yard and so in these places for just a couple $100 or $200-300 and so a month and so on and so. Um, the opportunities are vast, and it would work to kind of help to dispel that kind of negative connotations that we would have had over all of these years. Oh, Africa is people starving and people living so poor and all of that and all of that. We know with a lot of the African movies, Nigerian movies and so on, Nollywood and so on, it kind of helped to change the mindset of people, because they're seeing, these movies acted out in places and they get to see some of the scenery and so on. But you'll be able to get to see it for yourself. So as we wrap up, we're heading into April. A couple of days from now is Empress Menen Earthstrong, the Empress of Haile Selassie. The Rastafari community will be having various celebrations. I think Gideon Force and St. Kitts will be having an event. I think
Yeah,
I think it's at the
yeah.
same day with your bank.
A,
Six. It's
a
the same
lunch,
day
yeah,
as well.
a lunch from start from 9 at 11 o'clock. Start from
Okay.
11 o'clock.
And
11 to
Banky
5 or
again,
something like that.
ITAL session.
Well,
Banky,
I'll play the ad before we go. One more time.
before we do that, the opportunity for folks to get the training from Indonesia. Maybe you want to
Yes.
let people know again when that is going to happen, and then that we will be putting out some information in the not too distant future in terms of the flyer or whatever, so that people can um, log into the link
Yes.
and let people know that this training is open to anybody around the world. It's a free training opportunity to do some agro processing. that is put on by
Yes.
the Indonesian people. Well, Banky will tell you who the organization is and so on. So you can let them know, Banky.
Yes. The Polytechnic from Atipadang. It's a technology institution, engineers and stuff like that. Agriculture and specialize in agriculture. Students also in training, coconut oil, different jams making, soap making, and all this candle making, all this different stuff. So it's a technical institution which I took part in last year June along with 18 other different Caribbean countries. We developed a good relationship with the professors and stuff like that. So I want to give thanks to that institution and Dr. Esther Edward for believing in me and what I do and stuff like that, because we've been there for almost 2.5 weeks, and by what they see, we've been there and how we interact and live amongst the people and stuff like that, and our professionalism, they are very taken back, and how we interact with the students and just the people in the community and so in the way we travel. They really did take care of us, take us to different West Match, to Paliaman and different villages and stuff like that, and areas throughout Indonesia where we met beautiful people, those who made the coconut oil the traditional way. I mean, and every day they really get to meet people like us from across this world. So for them, it's a total different thing. They really embrace us. You see what I mean? Really embrace us genuinely. So it shows that people on the other side of the world shows a lot of love, but then here it's just a total different thing. You see what I mean? People would love to come to our place because in life, everybody go through the same struggles. It's just environment and opportunities. The massive people of the world are poor people. You see what I mean? Then we tend to forget because we see all this. But when the lights goes off, there are people going to sleep hungry and this and that, and you know what I mean, just uneven bearable conditions. So really, this problem can be solved if the people within managing these countries want to solve any poverty and way of condition that people live in, because all these countries have resources, millions and millions and millions, because over there the number one industry is oil in Indonesia, and number two is agriculture. Tourism is down to about number 4 or 5 or something like that. So you see how far tourism is at. So the first two is oil and agriculture. And the agriculture is so serious when it comes to industry. In preschool, primary school, you wear they have like a coat of arm, like with a patch on the uniform of the coconut tree. So if we're going to say about agriculture that bring in billions of dollars, like in Indonesia, when we was there, they already shipped out over $500 million worth of coconut oil to the United States. In June, that's the last, and the year wasn't finished yet. It was just half. So maybe before the year done, over $1 billion coconut oil. It's tankers and so forth have to ship have go with coconut oil. Because over there they use coconut oil in the US in soap making, different product, and they sell it on a large scale. You see?
Well,
so
Banky,
definitely,
it come down to being able to use what you have and see in agriculture from a different
yes,
perspective, because at
yes,
this point, for example, we would have gotten into the actual ban of single-use plastics and styrofoam containers and all that. I have developed a relationship with an Indian company, and one of the things that they do, they make products from coconut as well, but one of the things that really caught me was the disposable plates that they are making, and containers that they are making from palm fronds, from palm branches, and no added chemicals. All they do, they wash them, soak them, sterilize them, and then they have a machine that presses them into the shape, the various different shapes that are desired. Wonderful. And so you see
yes,
all the natural, you know what I mean? The sad thing is, right, for me, in most cases, a lot of them are disposable. So they are good for dried goods. But if you're supposed to put liquids like, soup or anything that's wet, it will soak in material, because remember, it's fiber. and you would not
Of
necessarily be
course,
able
of
to
course.
wash it out.
Yes.
But because of the fact that you will now be able to just discard it in an eco-friendly way because it's biodegradable, you can just throw it out on the heap and it will break back down into, that's one of the reasons why it's an eco-friendly product. So these are some of the things that we could be thinking, and this is why I keep saying about value-added products. There are things that would have been trash. That's the coconut branch. Usually, we burn that and whatever, but now it is able to be turned into a valuable product. And at this point, we do have the products here in America, so we do ship anywhere in America. And for those in the Caribbean who are interested, I'm offering it to the Caribbean, especially St. Kitts and Nevis, seeing that they have the single ban on plastics at this moment. So if you check out my Facebook and so on, you would see that I'm advertising, and I would have already gotten to negotiate. My name is powerful now in a banky because my name is used
Mm-hmm.
as a coupon. So you type Yason before you cash out, and you get a special discount, or you can get specials on your bulk orders and so on. So
Nice.
yeah, Yason
Beautiful.
is significant. Yeah. And before we
Yes.
wrap up now, I see
Okay.
Ira sent this link here in
Yes.
regards to a topic. The Kenyan police officer deployed in Haiti as part of the international security force has been killed after an attack by suspected gang members. The country's transitional council says after he was initially reported missing, this valiant policeman committed to the side of the Haitian forces to fight against insecurity has made the ultimate sacrifice for a better future, read a statement from Haiti's Presidential Transitional Council, CPT. The officer was identified as Benedict Kabiru. His mother spoke to local media saying she was overwhelmed with emotion. I am a single mother. He was my only hope, she said. Um,
Wow.
Banky,
Sad.
we're wrapping up, right? Sad story,
Yes. Let me just
but
play. Let me
I,
play the clip before we go. When you're done, I play the clip and then we wrap up
yeah,
on my
let me
end.
just play it and then play the clip, and then
Yes.
Ira, after the clip from Banky, you could sign us up. Um, I have a little take on this thing, right, Banky. Um, I have condolences, and I do feel the pain of anybody that passed away. But I have
Of
a
course.
little kind of slightly different look at this scenario. Haiti, a lot of propaganda is being spread on Haiti and barbecue and these guys who are really freedom fighters, rebelling for a cause. And this is
Yes.
this is like the fight. Like I feel this way because this was like the fight that was put out towards Rastafari over the years. Rastafari wasn't doing anything, and Rastafari was persecuted and killed just for standing up for what they believe in. Now, here is my issue. I am not saying that the way they might be going about it might not might be the right way, or there might not necessarily be a need for some sort of mediation and or addressing the issue. But here is it: America and France more so, is responsible for what condition Haiti is in. After France got kicked out, France came back and forced Haiti to pay reparations technically for the things that they said that they had there that got damaged. And since Haiti took over, they lost all of this, and Haiti had to pay them X amount of money. Part of it was, I think it's 85% of whatever money Haiti made, Haiti would have had to give to the France government. They got 15% to use to do whatever they needed to do. If that 15% run out and they needed extra money, they had to go to France to borrow money at commercial lending rates to um, um, meet up with whatever the requirements were. Any monies that they need, France print the money. Any weapons and so that they buy come from France. All of this was happening, and nobody paid attention. America came in. America robbed out all of the gold and all of the different minerals and so out of Haiti. CARICOM and Caribbean sit by. We took on the Western narrative. Haiti is this and Haiti is rebellious and Haiti that and all of that. And we ain't study with Haiti. Now Haiti got to that point. Canada, Haiti, and America were the three main members of this group of people that's supposed to be coming in to say they're bringing peace into Haiti. Now, when you look at Canada, America, and France, there's one thing in common. And that thing in common is what caused them to not want to bring boots on the ground in Haiti and cause them to then do what is the next best thing they do. And this is what they keep doing to us. Use us to fight against ourselves. So they pay, use a little bit of trinkets and pay the man in Kenya some $300,000 or 300, I don't know how, whatever little trinkets was paid to send Kenyan soldiers so that you don't have the image that here is it that these France and American people gone out there. So this thing bothers me to that point that we're still allowing ourselves to be used to do that, to fight against our own brothers and sisters, and we have been used and duped to do that, and this is what they keep doing all the time. Use a weak link. Marcus Garvey was doing what they're doing, infiltrate, get somebody to go in and infiltrate, get the way that he too powerful, get the way that me boy there in Grenada again, as we spoke about him earlier.
Of course.
Right?
Yes, Maurice
You know,
Bishop.
and this is a trend. And so, my brethren, we call this the topics, and we did a number of other things that we could talk about this evening. But I want to say give thanks to all those who would have participated. Carabo, the last comment there says a 35-year-old brother is showing us how it works, yet we can't see. Hail Ibrahim, which is, I guess, Ibrahim Traore, the president of Burkina Faso. We spoke. So, Banky, we're gonna wrap up. You're gonna play the clip. I'm gonna just give my salutations and all that, so that by the time the clip done, Ira, you could just take us out after that. So enough respect, everybody, guidance and detection, enough love. We do appreciate you participating, commenting, and sharing the live. You could have been doing anything else on this Tuesday evening, but you're here with us on the topics. Banky is gonna take us out with this clip.
Yes, before going to the clip, just let me say, remember tomorrow is the Gulf Insurance and Bunny, the Bank of Nevis International, go out and support your favorite school, the primary school. Remember, it's all about the children, them having fun, no arguments, and no people get heated. I mean, there'll be a lot going on over there at the Interprimary. There'll be a fashion day, a lineman day. I hope the vendors, them, everything all goes well. They may make a little twopence where they could pay some bills and stuff like that. I mean, I really think they're overcharging the vendors for all these prices now, all these events. I mean, as a youth growing up and selling trays and stuff like that, nuts and candies and stuff like that, as with my mama, other siblings and stuff like that. I mean, it's looked down on, and to see we have come to a place where all the schools and the most of primary schools have the most candies and fight against those who are selling outside the schools and tell the students them don't buy from those people who are making their living. And now the schools themselves selling more sweets than the supermarkets and them. And when the activities then don't charge the vendors them the most money, because now they're figuring out vendors that make money. So you see the society we live in, stuff that was looked down on, the stone that the builder refused is now the head cornerstone. So everybody want to do vending now. It's a beautiful thing. So it shows to show you always stick and be true to yourself. And when people looking down at you and going around and stuff, they still realize what's going on and stuff like that. So yeah, son, definitely it's tomorrow is the Interprimary, go out and support and stuff like that. I'll now play for Shabazz Organics what's coming up on this Sunday.
Get ready for a day of fun, flavor, and education because Shabazz Organics has done it again. Join us on April 6th at Mansa's Last Stop from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. for a melon medley and 420 Infused Family Fun Day. Cannabis trees on sale. Fresh watermelon juice and cannabis infused tea. Watermelon eating competition with fun prizes. Learn about traditional and modern cannabis growing setups. Whether you're a beginner or an expert, there's something for everyone. Entry, just 5 EC for adults and 3 EC for children. Bring your family, bring your friends, and come support a day of fun, learning, and community. We look forward to seeing you there.
Yes, hi. Good evening to all. Give thanks for supporting the Topics Annual Entertainment Network. Ira. Yes, son, anything? Well, Ira, get yourself in order.
Yeah, well, I will. Yeah, you can talk to Ira. I will talk until you bring on the what do you call it, the music in the background. So just let him bring on the intro. That will give me a hint that he is signing out. Yeah, okay. So I think he might be in the background because he asked a question not too long ago. But yeah, in the meantime, Banky, I think my mom got them plans organized for you already too. So you need to take a trip and check out for them plans.
Well, I'll collect them. So I'll check for. I'll definitely make that plan sale be a part of the event. All right.
Okay. All right. So enough respect. Safari Plant Nursery and Fountain. Check them out. Enough respect, mommy. Enough love, everybody. We gone again.
Somebody else off with the jerk. With the shame on me, I really thought that it could work. Off with somebody else, off with the loser. Shame on me, I really thought we had a. Lately I be having conversations with myself cause I feel like I have nobody to talk to. I be having conversations with myself cause I feel like I have nobody to turn to. Everything was good.